Madness is back. March 20th and 21st at the Stadium Sports Bar at A&A Sportsbook. More info at 1080thefan.com.
What's the most resilient parasite?
Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Can build cities, can transform the world, and rewrite all the rules.
That's what I'll be doing every single night.
Which is why...
No!
I have to steal it.
What are you talking about, Willis?
This is Primetime with Isaac and Suk.
It's going to work. It's passable, okay? This isn't terrible.
The best in local, regional, and national sports.
With no hidden agenda.
Primetime with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
Hey, what it do?
Hey.
What's up?
What
are you doing?
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, it sure is.
Let's get into it. Let's go.
It's a happy day.
It
Let's
is
get into what?
It is a happy day. I don't know. Sports, St. Patty's, the Irish, something. Let's get into something.
Who is St. Patrick?
I don't even think he was Irish, actually.
Oh. Well, that's not cool.
Yeah. I mean, he was a saint in Ireland, but I don't think he was actually Irish.
Is it a little bit like Cinco de Mayo to Mexico, where in Mexico,
No.
like in Ireland, they don't care about St. Patrick's Day, or they do?
No. If you've ever listened to anybody who's gone to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day,
I haven't. That's why I was asking.
It is another level.
No, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. You think we party here for St. Patrick's Day? Go to Ireland.
Yeah.
It's like going to Germany for Oktoberfest.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, they take it very, very seriously. Of all the places that I've drank around this fine world of ours, and there's plenty that take it seriously, there's nothing quite like the Irish. I mean, there's a reason why no matter where you go, you will find an Irish pub. I think you could go to the moon and you'd be like, what? There's an Irish pub.
Oh, well, that's not lost on me. I just didn't know if the holiday specifically was one of those no, it's just something that the dumb Americans do, or no, we're into it here. It's our thing.
No, they're into it.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's their thing.
Yeah, and it's not just a thing there. It's just a thing in Europe in general. Scotland, England, everyone. It's just it's just a reason to drink. But I believe the official thing is the arrival of Christianity, if I'm not mistaken. I think that is the
So how come Ireland gets all the credit then if all the European countries celebrate it?
Yeah, again, I think it's just a reason to have a kick-ass party. But
it says here the dates of his life are uncertain.
Yeah.
There are conflicting traditions regarding the year of his death.
Yeah, and St. Patrick, isn't he like Dutch? We're like,
No, they don't. He's Roman. Sub-Roman?
British Christian missionary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was in Ireland. He's the apostle of Ireland, but he was not Irish. But he gets credit for bringing Christianity to Ireland, which I'm not certain if that's a good thing or not if you know the history of Ireland. A little bit of a problem there between the Catholics and the Protestants. Why are you going there? But either way, it's a reason to celebrate the Irish and basically just have a great kick-ass party.
Did you also know that he is notably the patron saint of Nigeria?
I did not know that.
St. Patrick?
No.
Yeah.
Not familiar.
Now you do.
Yeah. True story. I celebrated twice, so I will not be celebrating on the actual St. Patrick's Day. I have St. Patty's Day'd enough over the weekend.
Does that mean it's a big deal in Nigeria too? Do you think
tell.
they go hard for
that? I
don't know.
I don't know.
He's their patron saint and all?
But yeah. I St. Patricked on Friday, and then unfortunately I did it again on Sunday. Took a break on Saturday, so Monday, no, we're good. We'll fill out some brackets. I'll pretend I know what I'm doing when it comes to that. I'll wait for BYU to get waxed in the first round, and I've already seen that, from a statistical standpoint, I think it's the second most likely upset in the first round. That's exciting, and then we'll move on. We're good. I've got enough green. I've ingested enough Irish whiskey over the holiday. We're good to go. I'm ready to sports. And more importantly, guys, TGL playoffs. I mean, come on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Who doesn't know that?
I'm a little disappointed in you.
Why?
Because you were not aware that it's TGL Monday.
Well, they spent all year giving us TGL Tuesday.
Yeah.
And now they got the playoffs on a Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, they're throwing you for a loop.
They didn't want to double up. They wanted to stretch it over 2 days rather than put.
We have TGL. We have TGL Tuesday.
That's right.
This is like when the NFL starts moving their playoffs to Saturday and Friday.
Tomorrow might be the next great sports day on the calendar with TGL playoffs.
Yeah.
March Madness play-ins.
Yeah.
And baseball opening day from Japan.
Yes.
How about my
3 in the morning.
How about my Hanshin Tigers? By the
Dang,
way,
is it really?
Giving the business to both the Cubs and the Dodgers.
How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's my team over there. I'm an avid supporter, considering I've been to one game and bought a jersey. But yeah, they gave the business to both the Cubbies and the Dodgers.
So more importantly, the final four of the TGL.
Uh-huh.
Tonight we get L.A. versus New York.
Do you have any idea what the L.A. or New York teams are?
I think L.A. has Justin Thomas.
No, that's
the
not right.
names.
He was on the.
Oh.
He was on either Atlanta or Jupiter.
He's Atlanta. You're right.
So you know nothing.
Yeah.
I sent this to Isaac earlier, and it is.
I have
Let's
more
see.
St. Patrick's news.
Yeah, New York is Xander Schauffele, Ricky Fowler, and
Okay.
Cam Young.
Okay.
Against L.A., who is Colin Morikawa, Tommy Fleetwood, and Sahith Tagala.
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm going L.A. there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
we
LA
are.
Golf Club.
We're on L.A. tonight.
Such a creative name.
And then tomorrow, I think it's Atlanta against.
I don't think Boston made it, and I don't think Jupiter made it. So
By
that
the
would
way,
leave
I would-
the Bay Club.
Bay Club.
I would
So
just
it
like to
is.
point out that I'm on the TGL website,
Big
and
game.
the Atlanta Drive that team consists of the most boring looking human beings on the planet.
Well, it's golf.
I mean, but look at this. That's
yeah.
just for
Yeah.
heaven's
Horschel,
sakes.
Glover, Thomas, and Cantlay.
Can you find 4 more boring generic white guys? I mean, for heaven's sakes, it's like that right there. Are they going to win me a golf tournament or help me with my retirement portfolio?
Most boring of those 4.
Yeah.
Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah. I just I'm falling asleep just looking at their photo.
I've started to like Horschel. He's a good interview. He's a little bit spicy.
Yeah, he's got
Did
the
you
spice.
see him at the Players over the weekend?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
Yeah, because
I don't know where it's going. I'm just trying to get in the house as soon as possible.
Nothing says spicy like indoor golf on a Monday. Ooh.
That's right.
Well, I was talking about outdoor golf, but yeah, he plays them both.
So here's the other thing about St. Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that he was captured at the age of 16 from his family's villa by a group of Irish pirates?
Oh.
Nice.
But obviously they didn't kill him.
It's like Count of Monte Cristo stuff.
Yeah.
They took him to Ireland where he was enslaved. He was held captive there.
Oh.
And that's how.
That's how he brought Christianity?
Yeah.
So he broke out and then eventually was like, hey, don't kidnap me. Christ is great. And then everyone was like, hooray.
What do you think an Irish pirate sounds like?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I think we have I think when we think of pirate, I think we have a very cartoonish version of the pirate. I don't think that's what pirates were. Well, it's like when you see like a Viking and they have horns and no Viking ever wore horns. Yeah, I think that's more of a Disneyland sort of thing. Pirates of the Caribbean. I doubt pirates were walking around, with doing the R with eye patches and peg legs.
They probably just sound like angrier, regular Irish people.
That would be my guess.
More drunk.
There you go.
Yeah, drunker, angrier, regular Irish people.
Yeah. Well, I think the Irish and the Scottish, they unfortunately, they had the whole religion thing, and then they weren't very good at like protecting it. So a lot of people, like the pirates, I know the Vikings spent a lot of years going there and being like, wait, you have a lot of like cool stuff and no one here to defend it? Oh, that's awesome. We're going to come in and kill you. And it turns out that one of them got enslaved and then brought Christianity there. So go St. Patrick.
Yeah. So who's ready to sports? You guys want to do some sports talk today?
Let's do it.
We love that sports talk here.
Sports.
I love this time of year. We got TGL. We got
Well, the players wrapped up today. That was kind of fun.
we got March Madness.
I thought you'd be a little excited about a Monday playoff. Or do you like
Well,
when
yeah.
the tournament is tied up in a neat bow on Sunday?
The Monday playoff is a 6 a.m. playoff.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer.
I missed it, but I would have loved it to have finished last night. But we did have Rory. Buckley and I did have Rory. We win again.
Red hot and rolling.
We can't lose right now.
Our Timbers played to a massive draw on Sunday. How about that? I know
Yeah,
that
our
excites
Timbers,
you.
yeah.
Our Timbers. A big 1-1 draw with LA.
And then
Start
we
of the
got,
F1 season in
Yeah,
Australia.
F1. There's a new Drive to Survive out. And we've got, as Buck mentioned, technically opening day tomorrow.
It's an embarrassment of riches. An embarrassment of, and we're still waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers is going to do.
Rodgers.
So come on, Rodgers.
Yeah. We're excited to talk sports.
Russell
with you
Wilson
guys.
is being told to stand down. Aaron Rodgers is a little bitch. Let's see what happens.
What do you mean, stand down? What does that mean?
Well, we're waiting to see. Like Russell Wilson is going to go where Aaron Rodgers isn't going to go. So
Mr.
he
Unlimited.
has to just wait.
we have to wait for Aaron Rodgers to make his decision. So if Russell Wilson's just sitting around. If you ever want like your pride hurt, realize that everyone who hates Aaron Rodgers but still wants him more than you.
All right. Well, we're going to start with Bucky brackets,
Yeah.
or perhaps Suki brackets,
Yeah.
Roppy brackets.
Let's pretend that I know what Gonzaga versus Georgia is going to be like, that big 8-9. I would like a detailed breakdown of UCLA, Utah State as well from you.
Wait, they're playing?
They are playing.
Yep, 7-10, I think, right? 7-10 matchup?
I believe you are correct.
Well, we already have a trendy 12-5 upset.
Of course.
We already have that. We have several oddities. We've got a blue blood in the first 4. The SEC, basically their whole league is in there.
Yeah, West Virginia is calling for congressional
Yes.
investigation.
We hear about that in Stockwatch today.
Can I tell you, just for the record, if you are a member of the fine institution of American government and you decide to take time out of your somewhat busy day,
This will be the topic.
what in God's name? Dude, if you haven't seen this,
It's something.
yeah, West Virginia apparently is losing their mind because their mediocre team was the last team left out of the tournament.
They were the bubble team that got jobbed. There's one every year, and they're making a big old stink about it.
Robbery at the highest level and is demanding
Robbery at the highest
investigations.
I don't really
into
know
this.
that they got jobbed. They just didn't do enough to get in the tournament.
I know.
That's correct. I guess based on people who analyze this stuff beforehand, they kind of had a straw poll of teams that would make it. And 111 out of 111 analysts all had them in the field.
Well,
and,
but they also
didn't
lost
make
to
the field.
Colorado the other day.
Yeah, in the opening round of the tournament.
I'm not saying they're good.
Well,
All I
and
know
then
is-
North Carolina. I think his big thing is that
North Carolina.
the chair of the committee is the North Carolina guy,
And we will
North
talk
Carolina
about that,
got it.
too.
and suddenly North Carolina is in. But North Carolina should have been in. They were hot and almost beat Duke.
All I know is that the dip-ass governor, Patrick Morrissey, I believe is
Yeah,
his
that's
name.
right, I think.
He stood up there at his little podium on his press conference with a board, the little placard,
The logo is the best part.
the logo, and it said instead of the NCAA, I want to pull this.
Yeah, it still said NCAA, but
yeah,
he
it still said-
changed the meaning.
Yeah, it said National Corrupt Athletic Association.
Oh, sick burn.
That
Sick burn.
dumbass went to someone in the governor's office, went to like Kinko's and printed up an alternate NCAA logo so he could put on his little lectern
And
there.
he probably had to find one that was 24 hours because it was already past closing time on Sunday in Morgantown or wherever
Oh
the hell
my
he
God.
is. And he went to a professional sign printing place before his little presser this
Dude,
morning.
you're 19-13 and you lost in the first round of your conference tournament to the worst team in the
It's
conference.
a miscarriage of justice and robbery of the highest order.
Do you think that he even knows who the coach of the team is?
Probably not.
I bet he can't even name the coach.
No, he's just what? West Virginia? Probably thinks it's Dana Holgerson. I mean, just every year there's one. There's one governor, there's one congressman, there's someone that decides that this is going to be their rallying cry and then demands investigations. I want the FBI involved. We need to look into this. How on earth did a 19-13 team that got bounced in the first round of their conference tournament not make it? It's a miscarriage of justice.
Well, we'll have more on that in our Stockwatch coming up at 4:15. I think we're going to call it Buckley Brackets coming up next.
I would like to hear Buckley's hot lines. You know he's already got like half a dozen.
I got some bets in already.
Isaac and I were texting about it
Yep.
earlier.
Dude, we're all over this. Come on, man.
You know what? It might even be Bar 2 brackets. He helped me out quite a bit over
It's
the
go
weekend.
time.
Yeah.
There we go.
I bet. Did you see that the women's tournament no one's betting on, unfortunately?
Why not?
No Caitlin
No
Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's not in it?
No. Turns out that
Why not?
unfortunately the
Caitlin Clark is white.
the interest in the numbers and all that. Not that it's not good, but it's
Who's the best team? South Carolina?
South Carolina, UCLA is really good, USC is good, Paige Buckets, UConn's pretty good.
She's still there?
Yeah, she's still there, man. She's on that Cherokee Parks plan.
God, no kidding.
Yeah, she's still
I feel like
there.
she's been there for 18 years.
It does feel like that. So she is there. Yeah, their number one seeds are UCLA, South Carolina, and who is the other one? And the number one seed, USC. Hey, look at that. We got 3 of the 4, and then Texas, which
Texas?
yeah, Texas is the other number one seed. And the Lady Duckies made it, and I thought they were kind of a bubble team, but they ended up making it. They're a 10 seed taking on the mighty Lady Vanderbilt Commodores.
Boy, I tell you, we got a lot of hate for North Carolina coming in. This is a hot topic, apparently, with people.
One of the hottest.
They are not happy about this.
Yeah.
For God's sakes.
1 in 12 against Quad 1 schools.
Someone said we cannot respectfully argue that North Carolina should not be in this tournament.
Wait,
There's a lot of knots in there.
I'm confused.
Yeah, well,
we cannot, should not. Wait,
you
what is it?
cannot respectfully argue North Carolina should not be in the tournament.
So I think this
Does that make sense?
I think that it's confusing, but he's saying that you can't argue that they should be in.
He thinks they should not be in.
Almost everyone thinks they should not be in.
And he believes...
At least that's what internet seems like they're on fire with today.
He believes you cannot even respectfully argue that, which I think is absurd.
Can I honestly tell you that, one, I don't care, but I did see across my Twitter timeline, Stephen A. was on there today yelling, saying that it was a miscarriage of justice.
All right. Let's start with Buckley Brackets next on The Fan.
The best basketball party is back. Suk on 1080 The Fan.
All right, it's time for Buckley Brackets, followed by Suki Brackets and then Roppy Brackets. I'm looking at North Carolina. Boy, I tell you, the text line, they're fired up over this.
Okay.
They are.
It's our sports controversy du jour.
I'm just saying, I've said it a million times. If you are pissed off because you are the 65th team, actually it's not because the play-in. So it's the
69th team,
right? So if you're the 69th team in America and you feel that you're the 67th, shut the F up. I just don't care. It's like if you're the, BYU this year in football, right? You could have made an argument that they belonged, they were with SMU, but you weren't. You were the 16th best team in a 12-team playoff. So shut up. No one cares. But in football, we don't listen. But in basketball, for whatever reason, we do this every year, whether it's Syracuse or North Carolina or West Virginia. Or I think one year it was Rick Pitino and St. John's. It might have been last year that the Johnnies got left out. Why? Why do we care? What happened to the 71st best team in America? Go away. You were 19-13 and lost in the first round of your conference tournament against the worst team in the conference in Colorado. You don't get to complain. You just don't.
So a lot of people. So in the event that people in our audience care, unlike you, a lot of people are bringing up the fact that North Carolina was 1-12 in quad 1 games.
Yeah, but I think they were undefeated in quad 2 games, which is the argument. And then they
were 1-12. Well, this guy said. I just wanted to say this because there's a dude who said you cannot make a respectful argument for North Carolina. We're getting a lot of that. Like, this is a travesty type of thing. I'm like, no, I mean, it's not that. Look, I get what you're saying about, a team on the bubble. They're on the bubble, meaning it could be in, it could be out.
Yeah. So
either way, you put yourself there. You don't have too much of a leg to stand on. Oh. That said, I think what's going on with North Carolina right now is that many people are just simply saying there's no way that team should be in the tournament, which is a little different. But right here is, to me, a respectful argument. I was just looking at KenPom, which is a huge college basketball advanced analytic, and North Carolina is 2 spots below Oregon.
Yeah.
They're 33rd.
Yeah.
So that right there is a respectful argument, is it not?
And the other one was they damn near beat Duke in the tournament. And then I heard something else that West Virginia's best player, or one of their best players, coach's kid, isn't going to play. He's hurt.
Well, he got hurt really early in the year.
He got hurt early in the year, but they said that there is something about availability, right? And they brought that up. And then the one that has people all hot and bothered is that one of the committee chairs is a North Carolina guy, and he does get a bonus for North Carolina getting into the tournament. But this is the same thing we face when you're doing the NCAA football, or I guess not the NCAA, but the college football playoff, is there's people in there that have affiliations to schools, and they do say that when one of your schools is being discussed, they have to recuse themselves from it. And this guy from North Carolina said the same thing. When it came to North Carolina, he had someone else lead those discussions. And you can sit here and say that the fix was in and that guy had influence. You can't prove it. What sort of investigate? You're really going to get someone from that committee that's going to be like, oh, no, we did this because the guy paid us off? No. So there's always, the fact of the matter is, who's ever on this selection committee, football, basketball, or otherwise, there's going to be conflicts of interest. And there's things set up in place to make sure, or at least try to provide some sort of barrier. And so there isn't interference. Outside of that, there's nothing you can do. So to say that you want transparency, they gave you transparency. You can sit there and they'll tell you why. The last 4 out were Indiana, Ohio State, Boise State, West Virginia. And West Virginia was the first one out. And they lay out the case for it. And then up to that, you can be mad and be like, well, again, quad 1 wins. And then someone else can bring up the fact that they were better at the end of the year and quad 2 wins. And they're going to bring up that West Virginia's best player isn't available. And it's all subjective. And we're not talking about the difference between 1 versus 2. You're talking about 69 versus 70.
Yeah, so I think one of the problems here is that North Carolina is a blue blood.
Yeah.
And that pisses people off.
Sure.
But I also think, and they're also doing the conspiracy theory thing of, well, having a blue blood like North Carolina in the play-in is going to be great for ratings, and it will.
Sure.
I mean, a blue blood in the first four, that's a quality move.
That's millions more people watching that game on Tuesday than would otherwise.
Can I also like to point out, this is a $1 billion contract every year, right? The NCAA gets $1 billion off of this, and that deal is signed well in advance. And so, yes, San Diego State, who was in a Final Four not too long ago, versus North Carolina.
That's the game.
That's the game.
Good game.
It's a great game, right?
Good little ball game.
Yeah.
Right, Buckley Brackets?
Yeah.
So that certainly draws more eyeballs than West Virginia and San Diego State. But can we please stop with the idea that let's say, 500,000, 300,000, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not going to be millions. So can we stop pretending that 100,000 or so people difference in this game, viewers, makes one bit of iota as far as revenue, as far as what they're going to sell the NCAA thing? They're playing games. They're just tossaways. The reason why this exists in the first place is that we have more TV to offer in our contract. This number does not make a difference to the NCAA. So let's stop with the idea that Inspector Gadget's like Dr. Claw's evil henchmen are sitting there being like, I know how we can cook up a little better ratings for the first game of the play-in by screwing over West Virginia.
Not only are they 33rd in Ken Palm, they're ahead of Connecticut and Creighton.
So you can make an objective argument.
Yes, you can make a respectful argument. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't,
No,
but
you can
it's
make
not
an argument.
it's not insane that
No.
they got in the tournament.
Dude,
they almost beat Duke.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're saying that
It's insane.
If you're putting someone that's, that's sub 500, that's one thing, but it's not. We all knew going into that some teams were on the bubble. And I didn't hear a lot about West Virginia, but I did hear a ton about Indiana. And the idea was Indiana needed to beat Oregon to get in. And they didn't. And then it being out. And we heard a lot about North Carolina, that North Carolina needed a good showing. And they had a pretty good showing. They should have beat Duke. No Cooper Flagg, but they should have beat Duke. They didn't. But a lot of people after that game said, I think they did enough.
I got to tell you, I've watched those teams. Who was the fourth team? Boise State?
The last four in were Boise State, Indiana.
Last four out.
Last four out was Boise State, Indiana, Ohio State, and West Virginia.
I've watched all of those teams except Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have no comment on Boise State. But I've watched Indiana, and I've watched West Virginia, and I've watched... who else did you just say?
West Virginia, Indiana, Ohio State, Boise State.
Ohio State. They were hot garbage.
Yeah.
North Carolina is better than all three of those teams. In my this is again just one guy, but I've watched all of them. North Carolina is a better team than Indiana. They're a better team than Ohio State, and they're a better team than West Virginia.
You can't make that argument, Rob.
No, I can't with Boise because I haven't seen them. But that's just I don't know. Anyway, not to belabor the point. But to belabor the point.
The National Corrupt Athletic Association, the greatest travesty in the history of sports, according to the West Virginia governor.
So now
go get your constituents off of meth for a second, okay? Do something for West Virginia, because this right here isn't helping anybody.
Well, the other thing too is, isn't it? I don't know if the stats bear this out or history bears this out, but it feels like, doesn't a team from the first four always make a run in the tournament?
It does seem that way. I think I'll look it up, but I want to say that over the last handful of years, there's been one that has made the Sweet 16.
I feel like UCLA made the Final Four out of that thing.
I'll take a look. History.
So watch North Carolina win. Not saying they will.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to win,
and
not just their play-in, but also their next game.
Yeah.
Well, I think the one was, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Syracuse is the one you're talking about.
Made the Final
I think
Four?
Syracuse was the last team in, and Syracuse, I do think, made a run to the Final Four.
And they had to play in the first four?
I think they had to play in the first four.
Wow.
But I will...
All right. You double check that.
I am not Suki brackets.
Suki brackets.
But I will do Suki bracket research and find out
Okay.
if that Syracuse stat is true.
All right. Buckley Brackets is next. Here's Buckley.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan in college hoops. The March Madness bracket is set. Duke, Auburn, Houston, and Florida get the number one seeds in each of the regions. The Oregon Ducks earn a 5 seed in the East region, but will play 12 seed Liberty in their opening game at 7:10 p.m. on Friday. Ducks are a 6.5 point favorite over the Flames, and they get some extra rest the last game of the first round, and additionally, they get to play close to home in the Seattle pod. If they win that one over Liberty, they'll take on the winner of 4-seed Arizona and 13-seed Akron. In the women's game, Oregon earned an at-large bid there as well, drawing a 10-seed in the Birmingham region and a matchup with 7-seed Vanderbilt. They'll play that game at Duke's Cameron Indoor Stadium on Friday at 2:30. In the association tonight, the Blazers back in action hosting the 15-win Washington Wizards. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock for that one. Portland is favored by half a dozen. And out at TPC Sawgrass, Rory McIlroy beats J.J. Spawn in a playoff this morning to win the Players' Championship. With the win, McIlroy becomes the 8th golfer to win the Players multiple times. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Sue on Portland's Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan.
More overcast, wet weather.
1080 The Fan.
Okay, research.
Yeah.
The year Syracuse made the run to the Final Four, they were the last team in sans play-ins. So they just made it. And
They were in 11.
They were in 11, and they went on and made the Final Four. Now, 2 play-in teams have made the Final Four.
Yeah.
2010, 2011 VCU was a play-in team. And,
Shaka Smart.
and they beat Georgetown, Purdue, Florida State, Kansas, and then lost to Butler in the Final Four.
I remember that.
And then I do remember this run, but I don't remember them being a play-in. But 2020, UCLA was a play-in.
2021.
Yeah, 20.
Because they didn't have a tournament.
Yeah, 2020, 2021. It's the 2020 season into the 2021.
Yeah, Mick Cronin.
Because I do remember they beat BYU in the first round, who was a 6th seed, and then they got Abilene Christian, Alabama, Michigan, and they lost in OT to Gonzaga. So we have had 2 teams, and then there's been a bunch that have made other runs. So yes, I mean almost every year, one of these play-in teams has made some kind of noise.
Well, I don't root for North Carolina, but I'm kind of rooting for them to beat San Diego State now and shut all these people up and go on a run.
Yeah. Well, remember, Florida Atlantic beat Purdue, who was that was the second 16 versus 1 of all time, too.
Do you remember who UConn beat in the final last year?
UConn beat
Zach Edey and Purdue, right?
Yeah, Purdue.
Yep.
Because that was the year after Purdue got bounced as a 1 seed.
Right.
Yep, they made it all the way to the final.
Yeah, and I remember everyone was laughing at Purdue, and then Purdue came back and gave everyone the Scrooge.
Yeah, they almost did the Virginia, where it was the lose to a 16 and come back and win the whole thing the next year.
Yeah, except UConn was quite good. So
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not quite as good this year.
Well, it turns out losing, to what was Klingon, 7 or 8?
Klingon was 7?
Because Castle went in the top 5 and then Klingon after that. So turns out losing 2 of the top, 7 players in the NBA draft, that hurts a little bit.
Your program.
Yeah.
So UConn's won the last 2, Kansas before that, and Baylor before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had COVID. So then,
that's a no countsies.
But the SEC getting a lot of love today.
14 teams, right?
They have 14 of their 16 teams in the tournament.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's nuts.
That's pretty.
I mean, imagine finishing 14th out of 16 in your league and making the field.
Well, I remember we were talking like halfway through the year. People were saying that this SEC conference might be the single best year for a conference in the history of the NCAA.
It's nasty.
Yeah, they were just.
So the team that finished 14th and made the tournament is Texas.
Yeah,
and they are going to play first 4. They play Xavier. Either tomorrow or Wednesday.
And that was another one we were watching. Texas had that bananas game against A&M, right? And they were like, hey, that could be, that could be Texas' head on the plate. And much like North Carolina, even in a loss, they felt that they had done enough to get in.
They also have 6 of the top 16 seeds in the field.
Yes.
That said, I will say that I feel that there are a couple of SEC teams that...
You're a little overrated?
Yeah, they're overrated because they're in that league.
Sure.
And maybe they won a few home games, like upset a team at home. Like Oklahoma, for example. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Vanderbilt's another one.
Like, I haven't seen Arkansas play, but Kansas, who I have seen play a bunch, who's extremely inconsistent. Like, Kansas is the 7th seed, and they're playing Arkansas.
That's a fun little matchup.
Like,
good game.
Is that one of those that you give the benefit of the doubt to the Blue Blood, or do you give it to the team from the conference that was just a nut punch all year?
I got to tell you, I don't have a real good feel for it.
Yeah.
Because... One, Kansas, they kind of kept it on the rails, even though it looked to be off the rails. Mm-hmm. Like they're just limited. I mean, they're good, and Bill Self is a good coach, and they play their ass off, and they can play defense. But they don't shoot. They have no real offense unless they get a matchup where Hunter Dickinson, who's 7 feet, can just feast, and even then he'll brick half his shots. But Arkansas is weird because they've had a couple injuries lately, and I think they're getting Boogie Flan back for this game, and he's like an NBA prospect. Yeah. He's been out, and you got John Calipari, so I'd tell you that's a juicy little matchup.
Well, and I saw too. I was just kind of going through, and I mean, like, to be honest, we watch a lot of Big 12 basketball in here because Kansas and BYU. I catch more Big Ten basketball than I do SEC basketball because I try to keep an eye on the Ducks. But there's a lot of teams, especially in the Big Ten, that just don't shoot the ball very well. And then like kind of looking around, sounds like that's like a St. John's thing. Like they don't shoot the ball very well. There's a lot of teams that are high seeds that just play defense and don't shoot particularly well. And that can lead to some funky things, because if you're a defensive team that really can't play from behind and you get one of these little small ball teams that run around and just jack threes, and you get a team that gets hot, they just bury you.
Yep.
And you just have the inability to come from behind them. That's Oregon. Like when Oregon isn't hitting threes, dude, their offense can look dreadful. I mean, outside of Biddle, we've seen these games where Shellstad goes cold and, he has an 0 for 7 night from behind the arc. And all of a sudden Oregon's offense just looks dreadful. And that's like half of college basketball, which is why it's hard to pick these things. It comes down to matchup and style of play. And, again, who just can get hot and hit shots.
Yeah, making threes is a big one. And how the hell you predict that?
Yeah. I couldn't,
I mean, you could bet on all the good three-point shooting teams, but they can go ice cold too. It's college basketball.
Well, and like I've seen the best team that I've seen play, and again, I'm probably biased because I watched both of these games. I watched Houston, and I think BYU is a pretty good team. It's probably the best BYU team that I've seen. And Houston has absolutely annihilated them. And I mean, beat them by 31 and like 20, but both of those games, they just beat the living hell out of them. And then you always hear that in the NCAA tournament that they call games a little bit closer, right? They don't let teams just beat you up. And so when I watch Houston, they just seem scary athletic to me. But it also, as I've watched them, I'm like, dude, they get away with just beating the living crap out of you. And if we start blowing whistles and we don't let Houston get up in your jock, all of a sudden, does Houston become what I think is the best team I saw? You want to ride this jock? Let's go. And then does Houston just become a team that's ripe to get picked off by someone that they can get up and down the floor and not let them get into that half-court grinded out game?
Yeah, I was going to I'll present this to you next, but I went back and looked because it feels like there have just been a lot of, because we for the last handful of years the theme has been parity in college basketball, right? Parity. Like last year, NC State was an 11 seed; they made the Final Four. So, do you remember that?
I do remember that. Can I tell you the only reason I remember that is because I went through and looked at last year's. I knew that.
You kind of have to remind yourself.
And I will say that this was on Sunday. I was like, oh, North Carolina State was in the Final Four.
Well, I went through and looked because I feel like it's in my head. I feel like this is a very top-heavy field where the best teams, like the Houstons and the Floridas and the Dukes, are seriously legit to the point where we might just this might just be a chalky-ass tournament. So then I was like, well, does that really ever happen, especially lately? And I went back and I looked at how many years in a row we have had a 5 seed or worse in the Final Four. And I have that for you.
Ooh. I
so,
like it.
So the next segment will be Roppy brackets.
I love it.
Bringing some heat.
Dude, these brackets have my bracket pants so tight.
I love the bracket. I mean, the brackets, that's the fun thing about the brackets is you don't really have to have watched everything. There's a lot of information, stats. There's just a lot of different angles on this tournament that you can take.
Sure.
Where it's, I mean,
I'm with you. I like reading about, because again, I didn't watch Drake play, but it's kind
Drake. I did see them once.
Did you?
Yes.
Didn't see him play.
I watched him play Kansas State.
What did you think?
I thought they were excellent. And let me tell you something about them. Here's what I know about them, and I think this is right. All right. Because this is going to be our show all week. I think. Aren't they one of the most experienced teams in all of college basketball? Don't you like experience?
Yes.
In the tournament? That's a thing?
And they're like 30-3.
Yeah.
And they play the slowest.
They're slow.
They play the slowest tempo of any team.
And they're a bunch of whiteys, but I tell you what, they were really tough. Yeah. Now, not that Kansas State was any good, because they weren't. But I think Drake is like it's a bunch of old guys, Yeah. And that experience in the tournament.
Yeah, I love it's fun to read through teams that you have no idea anything about them, and just from reading an article or two, you'll be like, "Well, I like this."
Well,
I got something's on.
The beautiful thing is you do get the groupthink, and we will get to this coming up too. But there is already, I mean, dude, the brackets weren't out for 6 seconds, and a trendy 12-5 upset had hit. Yeah. Everybody's talking about this one, and we'll tell you who that is. I will give you a hint that it is not Oregon.
Oh, thank God.
Because Oregon is a 5.
Yes.
And everybody every year picks there's always a 12-5.
Except the 6-11 has become
the new 12-5.
The new 12. And you know who everyone is picking in the 6-11?
BYU?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
But they're not picking BYU.
I know, VCU.
They're picking VCU to roll over.
I don't see it.
Roll over, my boys.
All right, we'll get to all of that as Roppy Brackets is up next on The Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. Everybody's saying, well, why the hell can't we go? Our offensive line's terrible. We need to sign an offensive lineman, but none of these guys are signing in Seattle. And so the theory is that, is it a 3-year window till the Vulcans put the franchise up? Now, look, he's not reporting. No. He's just saying pure speculation. Reading the tea leaves. And then what did Lawrence sign for? 3-year deal.
Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Souk, and for many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning.
Okay, calling for the ball here from Suki Brackets.
Take
and
it, run it, baby.
Buckley Brackets. It'll be Roppy Brackets here.
Roppy Brackets in the high post. I love it. Let's go.
And so I looked at
I want to run.
Drake. Their coach is Ben McCollum. He's in his first year there. They're 30-3. And if you look at minutes continuity, which is a thing, they rate very low. But that's because they did all the guys that he had at Northwest Missouri State.
Yeah, he brought them all, right?
They all moved to Drake. So it won't show that they've played together a lot because it's their first year technically at D1.
But they have.
They won. I guess he won 4 national titles at the Division 2 level.
Sure.
At Northwest Missouri State, and he's now Drake, and they are really well coached and really good. And
It's
they
a
know
little
what
bit
they're
like
doing.
when old Indiana, our guy Scagnetti did that. He brought all those guys with him from like James Madison.
Curt
Signetti. Yeah, he brought all the guys with him from James Madison.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Google me, bitch.
So my early thought is, man, watching Florida and watching Duke if Cooper Flagg's healthy, and watching Houston and some of these elite teams, this could be all chalk. Because I don't know if it's true, but it seems in my head that these teams are just, dude, every year the number 1 seeds are obviously the best teams in college basketball, but it feels to me like this year these teams are head and shoulders. Auburn is another one.
Yeah.
Those 4 teams right there are head and shoulders better than everyone else. Not that they can't lose, but I was just thinking, as if I'm filling out a bracket, it might be that chalky year. So a number 1 seed has won the NCAA tournament 6 of the last 7 times. But as we've been talking about parity all these years here recently, I went back and looked at how often a 5 seed or worse is in the Final Four. And you actually have to go back 12 years to find a Final Four that had all 4 seeds or better in it.
Yeah, there's always someone.
12 straight.
There's always someone. I think we were talking about this over the last year or two, that like if you're playing strictly math, and like if you're saying you're taking statistical probability, I think it's you take 2 ones. I think you take 2 ones and then you take somewhere between 1, 2, and 5, a 2 seed and a 5 seed, and then you take one that's between like a 6 and 11. I think that, statistically speaking, has played out over the last handful of whatever it is, 15 tournaments or whatever. I think something like that has played out to be your Final Four.
So last year, NC State was in the Final Four. They were in 11.
Yeah.
2023 was Florida Atlantic. They were in 9. 2022 was North Carolina. They made it all the way to the final.
Yeah.
Kansas beat them. They were in 8. 2021 was that UCLA team that was in the first 4. 2020 we didn't have a tournament. 2019 Auburn was the lowest seed in the or the highest seed, I guess I should say, in the Final Four. They were a 5. Yeah. 2018 was that Loyola Chicago team that was an 11. 2017 was South Carolina, and that was the year Oregon made the Final Four.
I remember that South Carolina team. Who was that was the coach that was seeing ghosts?
Yeah, his name is
well, was it Frank Martin?
Frank
was it?
Martin.
Was it Frank Martin?
Yeah, that was Frank Martin.
They were a
K-State coach too, I think.
Yeah.
They were a 7. 2016 Syracuse made it as a 10. 2015 Michigan State made it as a 7. 2014 Kentucky made it as an 8. And 2013 was the year Wichita State made it as a 9. You got to go all the way back to 2012, where we had Kentucky as a 1, Louisville as a 4, Kansas and Ohio State were 2s.
But this was the other thing, and it bared it out right there. Remember I said you pick 2 ones, like a 2 through a 5, and then a 6 to an 11. You don't pick anyone above an 11. Like that.
Yeah, there was not anybody above an 11. But there were 3 11s.
3 11s. That's what they were saying, that if you want, you pick one from that pool of 6 to 11, but you don't pick a 12.
You know what else I think is interesting is if you look at the teams that I just listed that were high seeds in the Final Four, a lot of times it's a blue blood.
Yeah.
Like North Carolina this year. Yeah. North Carolina an 8, UCLA 11, Syracuse a 10, Michigan State a 7, Kentucky an 8. Not always. Auburn was in there as a 5. So it's like I don't have the bracket in front of me, but who is, besides North Carolina as an 11, who is a blue blood program that is just kind of having a down year but still has good players?
That's sniffing around that 8 to 11 seed. Louisville's an 8. and I've heard some people say that Louisville's pretty good.
They get to play in Lexington, which is a nice little...
They're a team with a gripe. If you look back historically of teams that were essentially like, what was it, in the AP top 10 at the end of the season, they almost always get a top 3 seed, and they got drilled all the way down to number 8 seed.
Yeah, I don't think the committee really liked the ACC all that much.
Yeah.
I will say this about Louisville. They get to play in Lexington, but as an 8 seed, which is wild. Auburn better watch out if Louisville or Creighton. I mean, that's a good...
That could be wild.
I tell you what, Louisville versus Creighton as an 8-9, I think both of those teams are looking at that going, why are we on this line?
Yeah.
That's
an electric game, first round.
There's not a lot, by the way, that fit that criteria.
And by the way, both of those teams were in their conference tournament finals. And they still got an 8 and 9. Here's another one real quick before you get back to what you're looking at. Dude, Gonzaga... They are number 9 in Ken Pom.
Yep.
And they are an 8 seed.
That's right where it's funny because I said there's not a lot that fit that mold criteria, but that's another one that Ken Pom and some of the analytics like Gonzaga a lot more than I think most people. And Gonzaga came back and won the West Coast Conference Tournament with one of the ugliest shooting performances known to man, and yet here they are. So again, right off Gonzaga at your own peril.
So they're number 9, like in the country, the 9th best team on Ken Pom, but yet they're an 8 seed.
8 seed.
Meanwhile, Memphis is number 51 in Ken Pom, and they're a 5 seed.
Yeah. So Gonzaga Gonzaga gets Georgia, and then they would see Houston in the second round, who's a number 1. Like you said, Carolina's an 11, San Diego State's an 11. They would kind of fit that mold. Other than that, there's just not a lot in there that you would...
Well, Kansas is a 7, but I can tell you they're not going to the final.
And then if you wanted to do Baylor is a 9, and Baylor would get Duke in the second round if they get by Mississippi State.
Yeah,
so
they've got some talent.
Yeah, they got some talent. I've seen some people say that maybe if Cooper Flagg isn't 100%, Baylor could give them problems. But there's just not a lot this year when I'm looking between that 8 and 11 line that would fit the blue blood. The one that would probably do it that I've seen that people actually picking would be Louisville. Louisville at 8.
All right. Well, there's Roppy brackets.
Yeah.
Do we need Suki brackets coming up next?
I think we already kind of had our Suki brackets, didn't we?
Oh.
I passed you the ball.
And I scored.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone around. I was in the triple threat position. I was ready to dribble, shoot, or pass.
Wait.
More than likely dribble it off my foot, but still.
I'm open.
It's going back to you.
Send it back over here.
Let's go.
Swing it.
I've got the trendy 12-5 upset that everyone's talking about already.
Yes, because I don't like that the trendy 6-11 upset is BYU losing to VCU.
Yeah, a lot of people like VCU there.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. Richie Saunders, dude, they lost in the first round last year. Yes. Richie Saunders ain't bowing out in the first round.
Let's go, Richie.
It ain't happening.
Tater Tot King.
That guy I will be very disappointed in my guy, Richie Saunders, and his headband if he goes home in the first round.
Yeah, me too. But they are saying that like VCU is they're saying VCU is good. Like they were dominant in conference.
But so is
play.
BYU,
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so they haven't seen Richie.
No. They haven't seen our whites.
Okay.
They haven't seen our whites.
Yeah, so there's a 20-12
A 20?
a 20-12-5 upset.
I love the 20-12-5.
And we'll get to that next on The Fan.
I never know, man.
Unbiased.
Shut your mouth.
Uncompromised sports talk without the sugarcoating.
I hope you're happy. You wasted everyone's life for 30 seconds.
Isaac Rupp and Jason Sukanik.
Now shut up and let me do my job.
The best in sports coverage.
This is gonna be great.
This is Primetime with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
All right. Welcome back to our show. We're talking brackets.
Did it get you?
Yeah. That will never not be funny.
It's great. In honor of opening day tomorrow. You have to be up at 3 a.m. though.
I know. That's
to watch
tough.
Cubs Dodgers.
You know what? It's going to be a pass for me. But
yeah.
Well, the weirdest part about opening day is then you have to come home and play more preseason games.
Yeah. Well, it's not really opening day, but
no, but they count.
They do count.
But then it's weird because I always thought, why not just have those games and then the next day be opening day? But it's not.
Well, they got to travel.
Yeah, but can't they? They can't just take those teams that are playing over there and then have them play each other when they get back. I don't. It's just weird to have opening day and then there's more preseason games and then we get opening day.
I wonder if the teams wanted that because if you send them over there to start the season, they feel like they're at a disadvantage.
But I mean, for God's sakes, do those 3 games? How many are they playing?
I think they're only playing 2.
Are they just playing 2?
I think.
It's a 162 game season.
And they're playing a bunch of exhibition games.
Are we really jammed up? Yeah, against
Japanese teams.
Yeah. Are we really jammed up over those
I
2
think
games?
Teams are, yeah. They probably are. But
oh no, the Dodgers.
At any rate, what was I going to tell you? Something
you got to wake
awesome.
up at 3 a.m. to watch opening day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're basically glorified spring training games over there. But, it'd be good for Japan.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese all the Japanese guys are out there.
Yeah.
Yamamoto and Imanaga and
you're
Sasaki.
And you're seeing that one of the Japanese teams beat both the Cubs and the Dodgers. And I was listening to Dave Roberts was talking about this, and he was like, "Hey, dude, that the Nippon League is real.
Yeah,
I mean that is
They're
not
good.
That is not. I mean, it's like the rest of it's like in basketball when you go watch some of the Euro leagues, dude. There's some good ball being played over there.
Well, while we wait for TGL playoffs.
I can't wait.
Walkouts happening right now.
Walkouts, yeah. It's about to get underway. We got smoke.
The walkout.
Yeah, it's like a UFC fight.
Yeah. Look at the smoke.
It is just
smoke machines.
Hell yeah, brother. This is America.
It is just so sad to watch the most boring milquetoast athletes try to turn this into something like sexy and, like you said, a UFC fight. Just stop. Golf, lean into what you are. Because whatever you're trying to do with this, it ain't working.
Big playoff matchup. Got LA versus New York tonight.
The strobe lights. How are you going to be a badass when you're wearing white slacks with a bad golf polo with 17 NASCAR logos on it tucked in?
I do want to tell you we have a basketball party this week. We will be out in the wild on Thursday and Friday. We'll be at Stadium Sports Bar at A&A Sportsbook up there in Ridgefield.
You are correct.
So you should come up there.
I always find it weird because it's La Center, but on the other side of the freeway, it's Ridgefield.
Yeah.
It's the La Center exit, but technically it's Ridgefield. Take a right to La Center. Don't do that. Left to the casino.
Yeah, Ridgefield sounds better than La Center.
I think that's what it is.
Because it's nicer.
Hey, it's a valid point. We don't have a casino. There's some card rooms, and that's about it. Trust me, when you get off the freeway, there's never been someone that's been like, hey, I wonder which way to go. The giant monstrosity casino and hotel that's super nice is right there.
All of our local shows will be live Thursday and Friday out there. It's brought to you by George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. And it is also brought to you by Coors Light and Video Only. Thursday and Friday. It's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, we drink, we eat. There's about a gajillion TVs. And more importantly, you can live bet them. Hello? What are we doing?
You can live bet them. Just bring cash.
I think the only team you can't bet on is the Zags.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to bet on the Zags because they're in Washington.
That's the only one. It's the only Washington team.
The trendy 12-5. Okay, so Roppy Brackets is back. Thank you.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so there's a 12-5 upset.
I like the 2012. I love the 2012-5.
2012. And the 2012-5 this year is UCSD over Michigan.
Yes.
And the reason for that is UCSD has the nation's longest winning streak. They have won 15 basketball games in a row. And styles make fights. The Michigan team has struggled with turnovers all year. They are number 328 in turnovers. care to guess where UCSD sits in forcing turnovers?
I'm guessing they're top 5.
They are number 2.
There you go.
Now, the interesting thing about this matchup, too, is that Michigan is huge. They have the 2 big guys in the middle. They run that pick and roll with those guys. Has UCSD seen anything like that in the Big West? The answer is likely no.
Yeah.
The best team they've beaten is Utah State. So that's a trendy. The point spread is like 2.5.
Which is bizarre, considering I think this is the first year that the Tritons, I believe.
The Tritons.
I didn't even know.
The Tritons.
I didn't either.
Tritons, right?
Oh, Tritons?
The Tritons, not the Tritons.
I thought.
Tritons.
Okay, my bad.
I didn't even know that. Like when I saw UC San Diego, my first thought was like, "Are we talking about the Toros?"
The Toros.
No,
Yeah.
That's
it's 2 different
USD.
teams.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this is the first year of being eligible. They had to go through the 4-year process from Division 1, up to Division 1. So this was watching and hearing people talk about them. My first thought was, who? Never heard of them in my life. But apparently now they're getting ready to knock off Michigan.
So we had 2. Well, nobody really thinks a lot of Michigan, even though they just won the Big Ten tournament.
I know, right?
They were kind of stumbling down the stretch, and so I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting one. I would say that there is an actual 12-5 matchup where the 12 seed is favored. Have you seen that?
No. Who's favored?
Colorado State is favored to beat Memphis, and Colorado State is the 12.
I did see, like, someone put together, it might have been SI, that put together like 5 teams that are poised for a deep run, and that was one of them. I guess I didn't realize.
Well, who? Colorado State?
Colorado State.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that they were favored in that game.
Well, I got to tell you.
I think the Mountain West has been pretty bad in recent tournaments.
Yes, the Mountain West. Outside
been
of
horrible.
Outside of San Diego State making
Right.
the Final Four, it has been pretty bad. Yes, but the thing there is, I feel like no one thinks Penny Hardaway's a good coach. Like Memphis has decent players, but they're sloppy. They turn it over, and Colorado State's really well coached. And I think they're favored. They're the 12.
Their coach, is it Medved? Is like
Yes.
a really hot name
He
to
is
take
good.
a step up to a big program.
Yeah.
Someone points out, what does John Anthony think about this? Do we have confirmed information that Colorado State will indeed
I'm sure he'll be back on this week, don't you
win
think?
this game? I would hope so. I mean,
So
what
we
better
had-
time to have confirmed information, and he wants to go 5-0.
We had 2 12-seed upsets last year. The 5s that went down last year were Wisconsin and St. Mary's. Overall, the 12 seeds win 35% of the time against the 5 seed. And, of course, Oregon and Liberty is a 5-12 matchup this year.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Liberty at all.
I don't either. I have not watched 1 second of Liberty. I was, again, just reading through some of the breakdowns. I guess they shoot the 3 ball pretty well, and they defend the 3 pretty well. So,
do you think they're going to be super pissed about that Fiesta Bowl loss?
Oh yeah, I forgot
to
about
Dan Lanning.
I forgot about that. The Fighting Falwells will be looking for some sort of revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my big takeaway from my brief foray into Liberty basketball. Shoot the 3 ball, defend the 3 ball. After that, couldn't tell you.
Well, in 33 of the last 39 tournaments, a 12 seed has pulled off at least one upset.
Yeah, but they always say be careful in that because, like, everyone always picks, you don't want to pick 3, 5, 12 upsets in your bracket and then get one of them right and be like, ha, I told you.
No, I would venture to say the Colorado State one is the one you should bet on.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, they are favored. But I think I got to go look up this stat. But I think that when the lower seed is favored over the higher seed, many times.
I love this.
Sometimes.
Are you talking about the trend where the worst seed favored covers?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
The higher lower thing is really
it's hard to
because,
you know what I mean.
60% of the time it works every time.
When the higher seed is favored over the lower seed, meaning like 12 favored over a 5, the favorite is the play. Even though they're favored.
Yeah.
In other words, there's a reason why they're favored.
So take Colorado State over.
Yes, that's a long and clunky way of getting to take the Rams.
It seemed a little clunky, but yeah, you could have just said odds are.
Well, I got to
take Colorado State.
Well, I got to look up the stats. Okay. Yeah, so there's a 2012. So we're doing great.
So there's Michigan, UC, San Diego.
Yeah.
Oregon, Liberty, Bibbidi.
Yeah.
And then the one you were talking about, Memphis, Colorado
What's the
State.
other one?
Clemson and McNeese.
Okay.
Look out for McNeese. That's Will Wade's squad. They got all the juice from the equipment manager Amir Khan.
This is why I love this time of the year.
Yes.
So basically, in every 12-5 game, look out!
Well,
Look out! There's a tiger on the prowl.
Hey, Will Wade's trying to get back into the big show, and this might be his ticket.
It's not really a 5-12 thing. I think every upset, like if you're looking for guidance on underdogs, you're not going to get it because the more information you consume, the more somewhere somebody will name every like you'll listen to one thing and some guy will be like, "Oh, watch out for Yale."
Yeah.
And then you'll listen to another one. It's like, watch out for McNeese. And but if you listen to enough stuff,
watch out for everybody.
you will have to watch out for every single underdog.
Because most of these, the fact that these teams are on the 11, 10, 11, 12, right? They're usually mid-major programs that are having really good years. I mean, Drake won 30 games. I think they were the first team to win 30 games this year. So clearly you win 30 games, you're really good. And when you win 30 games, there's probably a couple statistics you can point to that say this team can play with anyone. And so you get that, and that's all you need. It's really all you need is one or two stats, right? They're number 3 in the country in committing turnovers, and then they play a team that turns the ball over a lot, and you're like, well, look out for this.
Well,
Buck's going with the mighty Will Wade. Hey, I've heard of Will Wade. Therefore,
McNeese is also the only school that has a student manager with 3 NIL deals.
Well,
so,
then,
come on, dude.
I mean,
that's a vibes thing. You
betting
can't mess with that.
You betting against that?
I'm not betting McNeese versus I've gone to, I don't fill out a bracket. When we're up at A, I place a handful of bets on individual games, and I do it that way, and it keeps me more engaged and more interested than just filling out one random bracket that I couldn't begin to tell you. These people filling out their brackets, it's fun. Put your little office pool in, but stop acting like you have any idea.
These people are crazy.
Unless
There's
you're Jay
something wrong with
Billis,
them.
please don't tell me.
That's the beauty of sports is like we all think we know everything about everything, and we want to tell everybody about it.
Exactly.
Well, March Madness is sneakily the time of year that guy that doesn't know very much about sports runs into one because he can tell everyone I had that upset in my bracket.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Feels good.
And by the
baby.
way,
feels good, baby.
Your wife, your girlfriend, they don't care. Just
no.
Much like
Feels great, baby.
Much like you filming the grainy video at the concert.
No one cares.
Let it go. Let it go.
We're happy for you, but that's about all.
Put the few bucks in your pocket that you won and move on.
All right. Stockwatch is next on The Fan.
Check out the Fan merch locker. 1-800-DIVORCE. When you need to take stock of your rights, 1-800-DIVORCE is on your side. Call 1-800-DIVORCE today.
Yes, it is Monday. It is 4:15 or thereafter, and it is time for Stockwatch, put together by Buckley Brackets.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, we are going to have an all brackets edition of Stockwatch today, or all bracket related. And we're going to start with our Oregon Ducks. They, as we mentioned, get a 5 seed against Liberty. Dana Altman on getting the draw to play in Seattle.
Well, we were happy about it. Yeah,
God dang, what do you think?
We thought Seattle or Denver, were pretty good options for us. Providence, Cleveland, probably not. Just because we just got back from Indy, and so we'll have 2 full days, and we play on Friday, which will help us, give us 2 full days to practice here, and which we desperately need. And then we'll travel Wednesday and practice there Thursday, and be ready to go whatever tip-off time is on Friday.
Yeah, a little bit of a snore, but given the proximity to Eugene, the extra rest, and Dana's pedigree in March, buy or sell, the Ducks will make it to the Sweet 16 once again.
I do think they have a pretty favorable draw.
I think so, too.
And
if they win, who do they play? Or
winner of Arizona-Akron.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
then it's Duke?
And then it would be Duke or Baylor.
It would be Duke or Baylor or Mississippi State,
Yeah.
whoever came off of that half. But yeah, Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, Akron, and then above you is Duke and whoever, and then Mississippi State, Baylor. I don't know why everyone's crapping on Arizona. I mean, Arizona just made a run to the Big 12 tournament, lost in the championship. But I mean, I guess it's Arizona, so we're just dismissing them. But I mean, I've seen Oregon play a bunch. I've probably seen Oregon play more ball than anyone else this year in the country. And Oregon, I think Oregon's good. I think Oregon is far from a great team. And I think you've seen that when they've played elite competition. It hasn't gone particularly well the second half of the season. I know they had the big win over Wisconsin where they came back from double digits. So I think they beat Liberty. Arizona, it's a coin flip. But, yeah, you do have a favorable draw, and I guess you do trust Dana Altman. And Arizona just has a history of crapping out. So I wouldn't say I love this, but if I'm filling out a bracket, I'll pencil the Duckies through to the Sweet 16 and to take on the Dukies. Why not?
Yeah, I don't think they have a great draw at all. As a matter of fact, Arizona-Duke that's nasty. I don't think they beat Arizona.
Well, I was thinking about more of getting to the Sweet 16, and that I think most people think that.
Well, yeah, they'd have to beat Arizona.
Well, they'd have to beat Arizona to get to the Sweet 16. I don't think they do it. No, I sell. I hate to say that. I mean, they're tough. You don't want to see Altman's teams in the tournament. That said, Arizona is better than Oregon.
Oh, what a dart by Sahith.
What a dart.
Look at that thing.
TGL. 1-1, New York, LA.
By the way, can we talk about the fact that Ricky Fowler is turning into a pedophile before our very eyes?
Whoa.
Jeez.
Like, every time I look at that dude, it gets creepier and creepier. Now, he's not, because he's married to, like, one of the hottest athletes on the planet, that pole vaulting gal. But, dude, what? Like, he is just... first off, he's a tiny little dude. If you saw Ricky Fowler getting out of a van, lurking around a middle school, you'd call the cops.
But instead, you're going to see him getting out of a Mercedes with golf clubs.
I know. And he's kind of getting pudgy now. And he's still doing the tuck-in thing, and he's still trying to wear young man's clothing, but he's not because he's getting old and fat.
He's trying to do the high-style glasses, which I think at least bring an element of that middle-aged lesbian thing that you like to harp on so much.
By the way, he is a nice candidate for the middle-aged lesbian category that I love so much with athletes and celebrities.
Kind of surprised we jumped right to pedo.
Yeah. Well, it's just I look up at him, and I'm like, yeah. Like, I don't want you wouldn't if you showed up to kindergarten, Buck, and you were dropping little man off, and you saw that was the teacher. Tell me you wouldn't be like, whoa, hold on.
He's got something's on.
Yeah, it's something's on. Something's happening.
Well, let's move over to the controversy du jour. This is a little bit longer, but this is Seth Davis and the selection broadcast crew asking Bubba Cunningham, the committee chair from North Carolina, about the conflict of interest or lack thereof.
It's going to be a natural question for people who don't know all those procedures to ask whether North Carolina may have gotten a little bit of an advantage that their AD is a chair. So I'm going to invite you to answer that question, and then maybe if Keith could shed some light on that discussion.
Well, thanks, Seth. And obviously, I'm going to defer that to Keith. But, all the policies and procedures were followed, and Keith can address exactly how North Carolina was discussed, because I was not in the room for any of that.
Yeah, thanks, Bubba. And Seth, I appreciate the question. As the vice chair, I managed all the conversations that we had about North Carolina, and we had quite a few. Our policies require the AD of any school to recuse themselves and actually leave the room for those discussions, and they're not allowed to participate in any vote as well. So we followed those, had lots of discussions about North Carolina. Saturday night we took our final vote, and we voted in 4 teams in the field on Saturday night, and we had a contingency vote. And the contingency vote, that was the last team in the field. And it was based on Memphis and UAB. If Memphis won that game, then that was going to free up a spot in the tournament, and that was going to be North Carolina. If UAB had won, then Memphis was going to be in the tournament, UAB would have been in the tournament, and North Carolina would have been the first team out. And so that process played out today. Memphis won, and that put North Carolina in the field.
So a little further explanation there as to how you could defend putting UNC in the field. But the big buy or sell here, buy or sell, we should allow active athletic directors on any sort of selection committee, college football or college basketball.
Yes, I do think it's fine. One, who else do you want to do this?
Analysts.
Okay, because
there's no way these athletic directors watch all the games. They can't.
And you think some of the analysts do, and you don't think there's prejudice in those?
I think that someone like Joe Lunardi watched a hell of a lot more than Bubba Cunningham.
No. I think this stuff that we do every year is just, it's asinine. And then the West Virginia governor gets all pissy.
Oh, that's coming up next.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing. We're really having a debate on who is the 69th best
No, that's
team
not the question. It's not about whether
country.
Carolina should be in or not. Should athletic directors have a say on who gets in or not when they all have a conflict of interest?
If you put Joe Lunardi in there, whoever Joe Lunardi is affiliated with, ESPN's going to have a contract with some sort of conference. And then you're going to have to be like, well, are they in ESPN's bag? No matter what you do, you are not going to find people that are independent of any sort of ties or possible prejudice.
But could you find people with less conflict of interest?
Again, we go down this road every year. Then go find me the perfect panel. Like, this is what we do every year with everything, that we try to come up with some sort of panel, and no matter what we do, we still end up bitching about it. And in this case, with the basketball one, it's the most ridiculous thing because you're literally debating the 69th best team. West Virginia, if you wanted to get in, don't lose to the worst team in your conference when you're on the bubble. I just have no sympathy for this, because then we bitch and moan about it, and it's ridiculous.
You know
There's policies in place where you recuse yourself. You're not allowed to vote on it. You're not allowed to do that. And if you can't trust people at some level to have some integrity, it doesn't matter who you're going to put in. If you had Joe Lunardi in this and West Virginia got screwed, I promise you the West Virginia governor would still say that we got screwed.
By Joe Lunardi. No, I agree. I don't disagree with that.
Okay, so what I'm going to go more with you on this, Buck, because it's not that ADs shouldn't be on there. I don't think it's the worst thing. It's just that I do think you can find a better panel. It's not about bias. You're never going to eliminate bias. But it would be better to have people who watch more of the games. There is no way these ADs are watching all this basketball.
It was like when Condoleezza Rice was on the college football playoff selection at one point in time. I'm like, I'm not saying that she's not a smart individual, but like, is she the best person to decide who gets seated where?
But at least there,
she's not affiliated with anybody. Except for Stanford.
Least there, they are picking a committee that their job is to watch. That's what they are saying. They're saying, okay, we're gonna put, I don't know how many people are on that committee. Are there 12, 16? Whoever's on the football committee is chosen, and their job is to watch the games. In this instance, it's not. They're just the people that run these schools.
So I'm thinking along the lines of the Jerry Palms and the Ken Palms and stuff like that.
Yes, you could make a much better panel and pay. I don't know about pay them, but just these are people that are given a spot to go and actually watch. Now, there's a lot more basketball to watch than football, so that's part of the problem. But I don't know. I definitely think you could have people that watch more doing it, but you're never going to eliminate all the bias.
And I do like the fact that when you're talking about, so I'm looking on here, you have the North Carolina athletic director, Minnesota athletic director, Sun Belt commissioner, Georgetown athletic director, Samford's in there, the Big Sky commissioner. I do like that you have enough voices in that room
from other conferences.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of these, by the way, and there's a ton that you have. The Manhattan athletic director, and so when you're the ACC, when you're the athletic director at North Carolina, I'm guessing you are pretty aware. If we sat down with the Oregon AD, I'm guessing he's pretty knowledgeable about Big Ten basketball.
Sure.
And so when Big Ten basketball gets brought up, he's obviously probably going to champion for the Big Ten. And then we throw in an SEC guy in there, and you champion for that. And that's the same thing we do with the football. We try to get different voices from around the country. So, the idea of going, I just think the idea of going to the Stephen A. Smiths of the world or the Joe Lunardis, if you think that's going to be better and less controversial, I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody's saying it will be less controversial. You're always going to have controversy. You're never going to eliminate bias. I do think, I don't even think it's arguable. You could have a panel that watches more basketball. You absolutely could.
And then I think at least all your decisions they wouldn't be without controversy, but they'd be more defensible because there'd be less bias, I think. Let's move on to the West Virginia governor and how he's been spending his time the last 24 hours.
6 quad 1 wins. And that was combined with an undefeated record against quad 3 and quad 4 opponents. 3 wins against top 10 teams and the 24th toughest schedule in America. West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels.
Highest level.
Now, who was the last team to get into the tournament? Ahead of the Mountaineers. That would be the University of North Carolina. Now, let's see how their resume stacks up. The Tar Heels went 1-12 in quad 1 games and even had a quad 3 loss.
Buy or sell that if your taxpayer dollars are going to analyze quad 1 through quad 4 wins, that you should be removed from your government position.
Yes. There is nothing I hate more than government officials that stick their nose into meaningless crap like this. The damn governor of the state went out and made a special sign. He went to Kinko's overnight and printed out an NCAA logo, but changed it to National Corruption Athletic Association.
That's right.
And then stood on his little pulpit up there and said that it was of the highest order. Oh my God. By the way, last time I checked, West Virginia is one of the poorest states with the biggest drug problem and education problems. And this is what you're concerned about, the people of West Virginia are concerned that your team is the 69th team out. And my God, I just can't think of a dumber way to spend, although I can. But it's one of the dumbest things that our government does is when we do stuff like this. It's just absolutely insane to me. And yet it probably scores them some political points where...
What are we buying or selling here?
Whether political officials who spend this much time analyzing quad 1 through 4 wins should still have their positions.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I'm not always that fired up about it like Suk is, but I mean, come on, these politicians are an eye roll. It's disingenuous. We know what he's doing. He probably can't even name the coach. He doesn't care.
It's robbery at the highest
That would
level.
be great. If you cared this much, if you could answer this 5-question quiz
what's
for
the
me real
coach's
quick.
name?
Who's the leading scorer?
He'd probably mispronounce the coach's name.
And what league do you play in?
He's just trying to get votes, get people on his side, whatever. Who cares? Hey, if you get in the tournament, win a couple more games, you're probably in the tournament.
Yeah.
Real quick, wrapping up with St. John's and Rick Pitino after his
Ricky.
big win.
Coach, how do you celebrate tonight? How do you celebrate tonight?
I'm going to drink a quart of Jameson's.
St. Patty's Day.
Good for you.
A quart, huh?
Back.
So he's celebrating with Jameson, but buy or sell Rick Pitino, the most entertaining coach entertaining coach in the field.
Yeah, Ricky's pretty great. Or pretty awful, depending on how you want to view him. But dude, Rick has given us so much joy over the years with his hookers at his school, the 9/11, the lady on the table, lasting 7 seconds, 4 white guys and an Egyptian. Now we've got a quart of Jameson's. I mean, he's a freaking vampire out in his white suit. I mean, come on. Rick Pitino is college, but he's the right amount of quality and sleaze and entertainment all mushed into one.
Kind
He's
of
a hell
perfect
of a
for college
coach.
basketball.
Yeah, he is college basketball.
Yeah, he's great, and he's kind of loosened up. Like as he's gotten older now.
He don't care as much.
And he's just fun.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna drink some Jameson. But it's an interesting question. You're saying most entertaining coach?
Yeah.
So who would be who are other candidates? I'm just like racking my brain.
Well,
Dana Altman, he's just a ball of.
Obviously Dana. No, I mean I just think there's other guys who get super animated. Whether it's your Bruce Pearls of the world.
Pearl's fun.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
He'd be up there.
Calipari is. I mean, he's always a good soundbite.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. You're right. Calipari, probably a little more entertaining. I don't know. I'm going to go with Pitino.
Well, and you got Dan Hurley's out there doing bits left and right.
Entertaining for
Are
sure.
you kidding
That's
me? He's
true.
flipping off fans, and he
That's
doesn't give
true.
two rips.
You got Izzo.
Dude,
getting all
if you
red-faced.
gave me a Final Four of Dan Hurley's red ass, throw in a dash of Tom Izzo freaking out on someone, Rick Pitino, and then maybe sweaty ass Bruce Pearl at Auburn, come on, that's good times right there.
Stockwatch each week brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. In the news is next. We've got scam texts. I don't know if you've seen these, but you got an unpaid toll you got to pay.
Yeah, I've gotten a handful of these.
Very prevalent.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with the Sports Center update. First on the Fan in college hoops, the March Madness bracket is set. Duke, Auburn, Houston, and Florida get the number 1 seeds in each region. The Oregon Ducks earn a 5 seed in the East region and will play 12 seed Liberty in their opening game, 7:10 p.m. on Friday up in Seattle. The Ducks are 6.5-point favorites over the Flames. If they can make it through that first matchup, they would face the winner of 4-seed Arizona and 13-seed Akron on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Oregon women earning an at-large bid as well. They draw the 10 seed in the Birmingham region of the women's bracket in a matchup with 7 seed Vanderbilt. They'll play that game out at Duke's Cameron Indoor Stadium on Friday at 2:30. In the association tonight, the Blazers are back in action, hosting the 15-win Washington Wizards. DeAndre Ayton, Ryan Rupert, Jabari Walker, Robert Williams, all out for Portland. Jeremy Grant's doubtful. Tumani Kamara is questionable. Tip-off is at 7. Portland is favored by 6. And out at CPC Sawgrass, Rory McIlroy beats J.J. Spawn in a playoff this morning to win the Players' Championship. With the win, McIlroy becomes the 8th golfer to win the Players multiple times. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan.
Well, personal injury attorneys, there's a lot of them out there. None as good as Ken and Donnie from the Advocates.
No, I wonder if they operate in West Virginia, because maybe that bitchy West Virginia governor, if this really is the greatest travesty, theft at the highest order, maybe needs to get a hold of, he'd get a call for an investigation, and who better to investigate this than the Advocates?
Yeah, sure. You get a lot of guys griping today.
Yeah.
You know, but they're not really injured. Or are they?
It's possible.
Has someone been injured by North Carolina being in the tournament?
Apparently, the governor of West Virginia has indeed been injured.
Well, then he needs to call Ken and Donnie at the Advocates.
Contacting attorneys. Or if you've actually really been injured and you're not a dumbass, or if you are a dumbass, but you still need an attorney, you
or
need
if
to
you're
call.
Ricky Fowler and he's abducted you from your school.
I contend that if you saw him coming, you would immediately become uncomfortable if you had kids in the general area. Bottom line is, a lot of times you need an attorney and you're not sure where to go. We got you covered. When in doubt, call him. It's free to call him, free to hire him. It costs you absolutely nothing. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, they don't get paid until you win. So if you've been injured, you need more than a lawyer. You deserve an advocate. And that's where Ken and Donnie come in. Go to their website, advocateslaw.com.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before
The Fan.
All right, welcome back to our show, Monday program. It's a beautiful day out there, albeit a little chilly.
Yeah, sun's creeping out, though.
Sun's out. Guns out.
Rolling up those sleeves. You're going to be a tank top man.
That's right. It is March 17, 2025. It is time now for In the News. I am you noted newsman. Thank you. Today is St. Patrick's Day. We discussed earlier who he was.
Hasn't everyone already celebrated St. Patrick's Day, though? Like, Monday's the worst day to have.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know.
It's over.
Yeah, no one's going out tonight, are they?
Oh, kids probably.
Yeah.
Not us.
No. I mean, I went out Friday and ended up double dipping on Sunday, which was a terrible idea. Like, you can't go out and party on a Monday. That's like worst.
Well, you can.
Well, yeah. I'll just say, Monday is the worst day to have a drinking holiday. Like, that's right out.
It is also Dribble to Work Day. Did you dribble your ball to work today?
No, that would be a long way. I don't know how long it would take me to walk to the office. I'm guessing, I don't know, 8-9 hours. Well, you don't live that far away, right?
Let's take a look. You know how Google always has the walking time?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool that they can estimate it that.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah, and it's in the ballpark.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
All right. If I had to walk to work. Wait. Hold on.
I've got. That's not as bad as I thought.
How long's your walk?
I got 5 hours and 39 minutes.
My walk home is 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Yeah. So you throw a dribble in there. I'm assuming I'm going to have to slow down a little bit to dribble in. So you're looking like, what, 6.5? Probably hours worth of dribbling. That's right out.
I'm going to start walking to work.
I don't think you are.
Well, I've got some scam text news.
Yeah, I saw that this is popping up, and I've gotten a couple of these before.
Yeah, I had one yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the delete and report as junk,
yeah,
and it never works.
Yeah, it still happens. Although these got me a little bit because I actually got a couple real ones. They weren't text messages, they were emails though, because my kid apparently had triggered a couple tolls up in the Seattle area that I had to call and deal with. So when these first started rolling in, I did consider whether or not these were legitimate.
My son is an idiot.
But you can tell because of the number that they're based off of.
Well, that and they don't tell you where the toll is.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bit of a...
Where they want you to click on it, but any scam, like anything from a government agency will be a secure 6-digit number. And if it comes from a regular phone number, that's not a government agency.
So the Oregon Department of Transportation is warning the public to watch out for scam text messages about supposed unpaid road toll balances.
Yeah.
The messages are all phishing attempts trying to get the victim to give the scammers their financial information under the guise of paying off the balance.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI has warned that the scam is happening more frequently in several other states. Department of Transportation have issued similar warnings in recent months. They often present themselves as being from real agencies based on the area code of where you live, such as when North Carolina residents receive scam texts purporting to be from the state's NC Quick Pass toll program.
Yes, but again, remember, when state agencies, it will be a secure 6-digit, like you'll see a text from like 543, whatever. It won't be an actual 5. If you're getting a text from a 503 number, that is not an Oregon DMV thing or whatever, roads or whatever.
Well, it's also a tell that ODOT has no tolls.
Yes.
There are some in Washington,
Yes.
as you said, but so don't fall for it.
Don't fall for it. And anytime that they always say the same thing, like, click on this link and back out, or it tells you to go. There's always an extra hoop that you have to jump through, which won't make sense. But I can see where people fall for this stuff.
Well,
don't do it.
Up at OHSU, they're having to put people in hallways. The emergency department is so full.
Well, that's not good. What are we
these days?
What's happening?
And it makes me sad.
An outbreak of what?
Well, I'm going to tell you next.
Cat AIDS?
It's possible.
Damn it.
That's next on In the News on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
The committee was informed that Flagg would be available for the NCAA tournament after spraining that ankle in the game against Georgia Tech in the ACC tournament. I mean, look, if J-Will, you and I have talked about this. If he's healthy, play.
Yes.
But one would also think that you'd be a little bit cautious with him to make sure that you can get him as healthy as possible.
Yeah. All right. Well, they're saying Cooper Flagg's going to be back. It's just, he's just going to have to gut it out.
Do you need him to play in that first game?
Not the first game.
Exactly. Right? I think the
give him
idea
a couple
is
extra
that,
days.
Exactly, right? Sit him for that first game. Maybe don't even start for the second. See how it goes. Make him available. But you're going to give it a whirl. But I think for that first round especially, you're very cautious.
Window into Sports brought to you by Window Nation. Right now, get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy and 0 interest, 0 payments for 2 years. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
The best basketball party is back. George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law presents Fan Madness. Thursday and Friday at the Stadium Sports Bar. Home to A-L-N-A Sportsbook. A-L-N-A. Make every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella run mean more at A-L-N-A Sportsbook.
Oh, my goodness, from the parking lot.
Fan Madness at A-L-N-A. More info at 1080thefan.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers.
Suk on 1080 The Fan.
All right, this is in the news for March 17, 2025. We've got a crisis at OHSU, it says here, although I don't think it's just OHSU. I know a buddy who had to go to the emergency room not too long ago, and he was put in the hallway.
Dumped in the hallway?
Yeah.
I've heard, I mean, there's horror stories now. People going with fairly serious conditions and sitting in ERs for 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah. Hospital officials up there at OHSU have been discussing hospital capacity crises during roundtable discussions this past week. Dr. Mary Tansky, chair of the Department of Emergency Medicine at OHSU, said the ED is where problems become evident because, again, we're the safety net and we're the backup plan. We are where people go when they can't access care, and we're also where people stay when they can't access a bed. Yes, they have 31 emergency beds up there, 10 in pediatrics, but at any given time...
That's all they have? 31 beds?
Yeah, that's not that many, is it?
No, it is not.
But at any given time, there are 80 to 100 patients in overflow areas.
Yeah.
So it is not going well. Why that is, the flu has been rough this year, but other than that,
just overcrowding. I mean, well, I would have guessed that ER departments had more than 31 beds.
Yeah, they're saying the flu is a big reason, but it's not the only reason. According to the Oregon Health Authority, this is the worst year for flu in Portland since the state began tracking those numbers, which was 15 years ago.
But didn't your little man have to go to the ER recently for a virus?
I didn't go to OHSU though. We went to the Providence up the way. But yeah,
but you had to go to. Yeah, I mean it's. Just the virus, but especially when you're young or if you're old, I think people kind of forget sometimes that some of those viruses can really kick your ass, and you need some immediate medical attention.
Yeah, it's crazy when you never think you're going to need it, and then when you show up, we waited a little bit for him to get in, but it wasn't like it was a serious issue. But you show up expecting help right away, and you get kind of put off into one of these areas. It's weird.
Yeah.
And so you're just sitting in the hallway in a gown.
Yeah.
Balls hanging out.
Well, when I got my face ripped up by a dog, I called my buddy who's my doctor, and he was like, you might want to suck it up. And it's like, you're just going to have to sit in the ER for a while. But he's like, you're going to sit for a while because, your face is bleeding and it's ripped open. But he's like, in the confines of an ER, that's not a...
You're down the list.
You're down the list.
It makes me sad.
And and that's when I sent him some photos. He's like, I think I can stitch that up. He's like... I don't know if it'll be as good as like a surgeon there, but like that was a determining factor for me. I was like, well, I could go sit in the ER for 10 hours and then wait and see if someone there will stitch up my face. And having someone that you can go to, it's just having to go to the ER is nightmare fuel. And yet for so many people, you just don't have another choice.
Yeah, this guy's saying on the text, he's right. Why don't we have 24-hour urgent care? That would solve a lot of problems.
You can't find people.
Staffing?
You can't find
I think the issue is that when it's not getting used, it's inefficient, and so then it doesn't stay open.
Shut it down overnight, just go to the ER. Okay, well, that's what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Yes. That's basically what it is.
That's rough.
If something happens to you and it's after 7 o'clock, guess what? You're heading to the ER along with everyone else. And if you don't have something that is literally like, I'm dying right now of a heart attack, why don't you go have a seat right there? I mean, I've been in there again with people that are massively bleeding, and they give you like some, like some wrap on it, and you're just sitting there bleeding. They're like, well, get you when you can. Like bleeding is not enough to get you in the back.
No, but there are buzzwords.
Yes. Oh, and believe me,
you can do it.
Yes.
You just got to say the right things.
Yes. We've done that a time or two with my mom.
It
If you've got an elderly person, you should know some buzzwords to get you shoved to the back
or the front.
Yeah, my wife works at the ER at St. Vincent's, and if we got an arm or any other type of injury, always just throw on. What does it say? Always just throw when you get a little heart or throw in the person. It was the person was probably texting from their phone. He said, always just throw in is what he means to say, a little heart murmur.
Yes. Yeah, they'll rush you right back.
I think he was probably typing quickly and it didn't quite come out. But yeah, basically he's saying, oh yeah, I hurt my arm and I'm bleeding. Oh, and by the way,
my heart's
look, my heart palpitation.
Oh, I'm hurt. Code red. Yeah, urgent care though, I think is really, even though it's, it's only during business hours.
It may not be the best care, but it's care.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are using urgent care now because you can't get in to see if it's something that's not urgent, you can't really get in to see your doctor.
Yeah.
It takes weeks and months.
It's tough.
So it's like, I'll just go to urgent care. So it's not really even urgent care anymore. It's just care.
What did one of my favorite comedians has a line that urgent care is neither of those things. It's a bunch of people not giving a rip in a untimely fashion about how you feel.
Yeah, but it's the best we can do.
It's the best you can do.
Because I can't see my doctor. It's
Yeah.
just, what a S system. I mean, what the hell? Who runs this thing? Oh, wait.
Someone's saying burns go first, so burn yourself as your...
Burns? Oh, well, yeah, but you can't fake the burn.
Well, so what you're saying is that, like, if you need to go to the ER, just put your hand on a curling iron real quick and be like, create your own to move yourself
Can
on
I
the
say
back.
I got a burning in my pee?
I don't think that's getting you in there.
Burning in my...
No, they're going to tell
I
you
had to squirt.
Tell you to sit down.
Yeah. Let's go with chest pains. Oh, I'm feeling my...
It was twice. When I had the chainsaw knee and when the dog ripped open my face, it was... I thought both of those would be enough to get me seen, and my buddy's like, yeah, no. He goes, they won't give
No,
two...
they don't care.
They don't care about that.
And that is in the news.
The chest pains.
I don't know if I'm going to live.
I bet you they're skilled at sorting those things out, too. They're like, yeah, nice try, sir.
But you know what, though? The liability, if they don't say they don't believe you and then something actually happens to you, I bet they have to take that serious.
Wasn't there that one where the old there was a lady not too long ago that died in one of the ERs and she was slumped in the corner for hours before someone realized it.
God.
That was here. It wasn't that
Portland?
long ago we were talking about it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, she was dead in the ER. And then someone was like, and hours later, they're like, number 12? Number 12? It's like, I think
she died.
I think she's dead.
I'm 13, though. Can I go?
You know someone in there was like, cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, great. Jeez. My turn.
All right. In the news, March 17, 2025. The Hot 5 at 5 is next on The Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in
they're saying part of the 100 level of the Moda Center, there is a game tonight, is flooded, and looks like some water's coming down maybe out of a sprinkler system, and they've got some workers there trying to push the water outside with a broom. So, and flooded, it's not even ankle deep. Obviously there is some sort of leak, maybe a pipe burst, but you're not wading through shin deep water, but
it goes drip, drip, drip.
I do feel bad for the poor bastard literally trying to push out this water with like a squeegee while more comes down behind him.
Yeah, I'm looking at the video too. That seems really futile, what he's doing.
Yeah, there's
what is he doing?
I don't know. I think someone gave him that and was like, do something, and like, what are you supposed to say? No? But there's more water coming down as he's pushing it out. Like, that's not gonna.
Yeah,
that's
he's
not
doing
gonna
nothing.
Work. That's doing nothing. So I don't know what that's going to do. What sort of effect that has on the game. I'm imagining you can't have people walking through water to get to their seats. But I don't know. I'll try to keep you updated if I hear anything.
Wouldn't it be better if they didn't play the game?
What? Hot Blazers and Wizards? Are you kidding me?
I am.
Did you
not
see that
kidding.
big Raptors game?
I mean, nothing would be better than a forced forfeit at this point because they keep winning.
Denny's out there. Well, they don't keep winning. It was their first win in like 5 games.
They keep winning.
Denny hit he hit a John Cena "You can't see me" celebration. It's like, my word. And by the way, the Raptors actively tanked in the fourth quarter. They pulled out their leading scorer for no other reason than we don't want to win this game. So I do enjoy that the Raptors are like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and.
It's not breaking news, dude.
Lose this one. Meanwhile, the Zers, man, they're every game matters for those guys.
Coming up this hour, Money Talks. Can you snort the foul line? And we will get back to Suki, Bucky, and Roppy brackets.
Let's go.
Coming up tonight in the club, we found an extermination camp in Mexico, and it's terrifying. We also have the White Lotus-themed world tour that has become a thing.
Interesting.
So
Are these real hotels that they're staying at?
Yes.
Oh, you mean on the show?
I mean, I know they're not the White. I know it's not the White Lotus.
No, they're hotels that exist. There's actually a really cool. I'll share it with you, but there's a cool podcast about the people who got to do the scouting for the locations for this show.
So this is like a Ritz that you can go stay.
Correct. I believe it's actually 4 seasons, but yeah.
Okay.
So we'll get to that 6 to 7. A lot of stuff going on here right now. The hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food. Discover Victorico's new savory menu items. Order in-store, online, or get it delivered straight to your door at victoricos.com.
A 20-12-5 upset.
Number 5.
In a 3-hole playoff at Sawgrass this morning, Rory McIlroy won the Players' Championship over J.J. Spahn, who dunked it into the water on 17. Rory's now won twice in 4 tries this season, but his team will not be in the TGL playoffs that begins tonight. Is it even a career? Some are speculating.
I wonder if Rory is just, even though he just won the Players, he's heartbreaking.
He's lamenting Boston Common is left out sitting in the cold.
I think he's probably thinking about that.
He's gearing up for the Masters. So is it more momentum that you've won the Players or less momentum that you're not in the TGL playoffs going into the Masters?
Maybe it'll fuel him. Maybe it'll fuel him.
Deep down inside.
Right now, New York leads LA 3-2, and a hammer has been dropped.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're trying to drop Eagles here, and things are getting tight.
This is wild. This is one of, they're down to the final 4. Look at the guy. Look at the other players are on it. Look at Serena Williams. She can't even watch. She's disgusting. I think she was more nervous, but.
Tommy!
Number 4.
Tommy Fleetwood. Coming up big. The West Virginia governor is threatening legal action after the West Virginia Mountaineers were left out of the NCAA tournament.
I do so enjoy when government officials threaten legal action because their team got voted down, for God's sakes.
He calls it a miscarriage of justice. He insinuated that because the chair of the committee is the AD from North Carolina, perhaps that's why the Tar Heels are in. He even had a sign on his podium calling the NCAA the National Corrupt Athletic Association.
I would love to know what he's suing for. He says that he wants transparency. The committee came out and explained exactly why they did what they did. So what? Minus someone being like, the North Carolina guy paid me off. Good one, West Virginia governor. Great little podium that you stood at today and whined it and sounded like a bitch.
Number 3.
Anthony Davis worked out with the Dallas G League team today.
Yeah, trying to make a comeback.
But he's already back with the big club. Apparently the Mavs wanted to shut him down, but he has pushed to play, and he could return soon.
Well, there was some talk, and it wouldn't happen, that the Mavericks were in danger of forfeiting games because they didn't have enough warm bodies, and they didn't have the salary cap space to bring guys up. But that's not going to happen. The NBA will make exceptions, and it sounds like Anthony Davis is going to attempt to come back. By the way, over/under, how many minutes will he play before he goes down again?
6.
It's a good thing when the Mavericks dude, don't even play. He's like, nah, I'm going to force my way back, because that's going to go well.
Sixers have shut down Paul George for the season. No surprise there. Blazers are back at it tonight. Assuming the Moda Center is not flooded, they're hosting the Wizards, who are suddenly coming off a win at Denver.
15-51 Washington Wizards.
They just beat Denver.
Hey, Portland's favored by 5.5, by the way. Taking a piece of that action?
Number two.
The new highest paid defensive back in the NFL is Derek Stingley, who gets 3 years, $90 million from the Texans. Almost all of that is guaranteed.
Oh, by the way, 4 players now off of that LSU championship team, which might be the best team we've ever seen in NCAA history, have now inked $666 million worth of guaranteed contracts. So Chase, Higgins, Burrow, Stingley.
The Bengals signed both receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, to massive deals. Now they are looking to lock up pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. He's 30, but coming off a season with 17.5 sacks. One Seahawks note, they're getting ready to host recently unretired wide receiver Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
Why?
Depth?
Well, they didn't have a receiving room. Before they got Cooper Kupp, and they didn't tender some of their free agents, I think they had 2 guys signed. So I guess you need warm bodies. So come on down, Micah Gallup. I mean, they'll address some in the draft and pick up some guys along the way, guys off practice squads.
Number one.
And number 1, Cooper Flagg is expected to give it a go in round 1 of the NCAA tournament on Friday. Top seed Duke will take on the winner of American v. Mount St. Mary's. Oregon is the 5 seed in Duke's bracket. The Ducks taking on Liberty in a Fiesta Bowl rematch Friday night at 7 in Seattle. That will be here on The Fan, as you well know.
I think 6:40. I think we get pregame and then tip right around 7.
That should be right.
Slightly early. What do we know about Liberty? Not much, other than they shoot the 3-ball real well and they defend it real well.
They're 28-6.
So that is that's the big scouting
And they're
report.
Probably a little pissed about that Fiesta Bowl.
I would think so. This is some sort
So
of
watch
revenge
out.
game.
Oregon women, a 10 seed. They're taking on Vanderbilt Friday. Oregon State, a 14 seed, as they visit North Carolina on Saturday. And on the baseball front, Oregon State up to number 6 in the national rankings. They've won 9 in a row.
Go Beavs.
The Ducks are 9th. There you go.
Look at that. How about Oregon?
There you go.
And Oregon State dominating the world of college baseball.
I don't know about dominating, but they're both in the top 10.
Hey, that's dominating.
Tennessee is number 1. They are undefeated. Nobody has beaten them yet.
Oh.
They are 20-0.
That seems pretty good.
The Vols.
Overrated.
Probably cheating.
Whatever.
Victor Rico's Mexican food, 19 locations across Oregon and Washington, now in Lacamas Square in Vancouver. Find a location near you at victorricos.com. When you think of flavor, think of Victor Rico's. Let's get back to, I'm going to go with Suki brackets on this one.
Let's do it.
Coming up next on The Fan.
I love the 20-12-5.
The home 1080 The Fan.
Well, it's time for Suki brackets. Or Soupy brackets if you want.
I love the 20-12-5. Give you my win, loss.
Well, you don't even fill out a bracket, do you?
I don't. I gave up filling out. This the last couple of years. One, we don't have anyone in the office anymore. We used to have a big office bracket, but we have like 9 employees now. So that's kind of fun. And
and we were shamed into having to fill out a women's bracket.
Yeah, and you know what?
Join that pool along with the men's, and I was not going to do that.
No, I refuse.
That's a waste of my $5.
I'm drawing the line. Yeah,
only because I don't know anything about. I don't
that, and I don't watch it, so no.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's not going to
I
happen.
don't watch it, so I'm not going to fill it out.
How are we ever going to grow the women's game if we can't get you two on board?
That's a good question.
As Bill Burr says, you can have women watch it. They make up 51% of the population. You pay attention to it.
They're not even watching it.
I'm good. No
Linda
offense.
watches, though.
I'm not watching Angel Reese.
Linda from sales watches it, and she made us do a women's bracket, and we just bowed out.
So but I do like live betting when we go up to A&A. I do that, and I find it more enjoyable as opposed to, trying to figure out like some sort of giant bracket scheme of strategy. I just like picking individual games, and that keeps me interested. And no matter what you do in one round, you get to move on to the next. Individual gambling way better to me than filling out a bracket. So, plus I am one of the few actual hosts that will tell you I have not seen 75% of the teams in the tournament play 1 second of basketball. But I do love on this Monday how we all talk ourselves into the ultimate groupthink. Like, you can go through and there's a million of these, like, all of a sudden the High Point Panthers, by the way, the number 13 seed, have become like this national darling seed.
Oh, yeah. Purdue's vulnerable to High Point.
Purdue's vulnerable. High Point. Here they come.
Well, I did see the point spread is only 8.5.
Yes.
I was like, whoa, High Point must be good. I mean, not that Purdue's like...
they have one of the best offensive teams in the country, so now we're all about the High Point Panthers. You have no idea. You have no idea what High Point's bringing.
I just look at what the odds makers say.
Yes.
And that is a pretty low line.
You pointed out, like, when you're looking at a 12-5, if the 12 seed is favored, that is a giant indication. Take the 12 seed, and that's
Colorado State.
Colorado State.
My Rams.
Who are red hot right now, one of the hottest teams in the country. And they get Memphis, who's really athletic but very sloppy. And Colorado State is actually favored in that 12 versus 5.
There you go. Look at you breaking it down like you know what the hell you're talking about.
Exactly. By the way,
you don't know.
No clue other than a bunch of smart people that do watch this. That's what they're saying. So I'm going off of that.
Sounds like me in betting.
Exactly. You try to find some gambling spreads. You're like, I'll go with that. The one that scares me to death is the trendy 5-12 is Colorado State. The trendy 6-11 is that VCU is going to roll BYU. So I'm just ready for another NCAA tournament disappointment.
The trendy 5-12 is UCSD.
Yes.
That's the one that a lot of people are saying Michigan's going down.
Yeah, that spreads down to 2.5. It opened at 4.5.
So that's the Tritons, and this is the first year.
The Tri-Tips.
The old Tri-Tips. And I guess they're a bunch of Division II guys. They have 4 Division II starters that came up with their coach and some other dude that could barely get on the floor at St. Mary's.
Bro, they're taking Michigan out.
By the way, can I also point out that Michigan just beat 3 top 20 teams in a row to win the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah.
But somehow now Michigan is a pile of crap? Wasn't the Big Ten
I don't think it's that. I think it's that UCSD is a juggernaut that nobody knows about.
Hand to God, when I saw this, when I was reading through and I saw UC San Diego and that this was like a one that people were talking about, I thought they were talking about the Toros.
I know, I did too.
I was like, oh, I've heard, what? Who? Who the hell is UC San Diego?
Not to be messed with, that's
and then I realized that they're just now completed the transition to Division I. That's probably why I've never heard of them.
Somebody said Biddle is going to use up Cooper Flagg.
Okay.
So we've already moved Oregon. This is another one. So Oregon possibly can't lose to Liberty, which they can. And then Arizona probably waits for him. And I love everyone automatically being like, oh, Arizona sucks. Oregon rolls through. They're fine.
God dang, what do you think?
We're already putting the brush in against Cooper Flagg and the Dukies.
If Nate Biddle and Cooper Flagg meet, would that be the worst hair battle of the tournament?
Boy, that's tough.
Ooh, that's a bad hair battle.
That is a bad hair off.
It's got to be.
And I hate to say it, but Nate Biddle's losing that thing. Because Cooper Flagg has that weird schoolboy haircut, but Biddle's got a mullet and is bald.
He's got a nice full head of hair. He just doesn't know what to do with it. Biddle's trying to do something with what is not really there.
Biddle does not look like he should be in college.
No.
He looks 40.
Yes. He's got the Greg Oden effect going on.
Cooper Flagg looks 12.
Yes.
Therefore, advantage Biddle.
And I'm not certain that 7'8" Biddle is going to be guarding Cooper Flagg or vice versa.
Well, outside of Flagg, who is the top name in the tournament?
That's a good question.
Because there aren't many.
No, I was going to say, because
there are. It's just that there's just not many names that move the needle for people. There's always stars.
Yes.
But there aren't many names that move the needle for people. I mean, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper are both top 5 picks.
Yes.
They played on the same team, and that team didn't even make the tournament. They played at Rutgers. They're not in the tournament, so they're not in we're not going to watch them.
Yeah.
So who is, I mean, there's the kid at Texas who's a freshman named Trey Johnson, but Texas kind of sucks. Like, they're in the play-in, or the first 4.
They're in the first 4. They're an 11 seed if they
I mean, seriously, give me a name outside of Cooper Flagg that is the top name in this tournament.
Kyler Filowich.
And he plays for?
Wofford.
Oh, God.
Well, who's the...
He does the granny freestyle, or granny free throws, and he's bringing them to the March Madness tournament.
Who they playing?
I don't know.
What?
But I want the granny free thrower to win and to succeed.
No, the kid out of Auburn, the...
Broom?
Yeah, Broom. Is it Johnny?
I think it's John I.
John I?
It looks like Johnny, but it's not pronounced Johnny.
I think he, outside of Flagg...
He's a star. I mean, he's almost... I don't know who's going to win.
I think he was runner-up for... he's going to be runner-up for Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think Flagg's going to win Player of the Year,
Behind Flagg,
and I think he is going to be the runner-up.
But nobody knows who he is. That's my point.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who he is.
Probably not. No, there doesn't...
Who the hell has heard of John I. Broom? Is that his name?
That's right.
Yes.
We don't even know how to say his first name, and yes, he's the second most exciting player in the tournament, maybe.
And I think that's why, like, the women's tournament last year caught such a buzz, is that Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was the biggest thing in college basketball, hands down.
Caitlin Clark is white.
I think the year that it got canceled, Sabrina out here is the biggest name in college basketball. You know, and I think that's been a problem. Although the last couple years, you had some of the UConn guys. Zach Edey was a name that people knew. And hopefully as more guys stick around, we get more of that. But yeah, there is not a lot of big names in college basketball. There just isn't, outside of right now Cooper Flagg.
So Jason Richardson's kid is a freshman at Michigan State. His name is Jace Richardson.
Yeah.
JT Toppin is a good player who's a top 10 pick, lottery type guy. He plays at Texas Tech. And then you
was he out for the tournament? Because they had 2 guys that were down for the conference tournament that are supposed to be back.
I think he played. I think there were 2 other guys that got hurt.
Okay.
But there you have other guys that are just sort of college ballers. I mean, maybe they're fringe NBA guys, but like Zakai Ziegler at Tennessee is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Sears at Alabama is really good. We saw him in the Final Four last year. Clayton, the kid at Florida. I tell you, Florida doesn't have to have a name. Florida or Houston, they don't have like standout names, although Clayton is a star. But watching those teams is a blast.
Yeah. Well, and Florida just got done winning the SEC, and Houston won the Big 12. And if you watch either one of them, they're just athletic across the board and just get up into your stuff.
But I kind of like how, you know, we don't need the star power. I mean, yes, you obviously want the Cooper Flaggs of the world, but you don't, the way college basketball is going right now, you don't really need to tune in to see certain players.
No.
You're just getting better play across the board. These guys have been playing together for longer, so it just looks more, it's a better product than it has been the last several years.
Well, and every year, like going into the tournament, remember, like John Morant, I don't think John Morant was a national name, but all of a sudden, you know, that was Murray State.
No, he was a national name though, because he bowed out. Everybody was talking about, we got to see this John Morant kid, and he lost.
But I don't think they lost I thought they won a game.
They might have won one game, but I don't think.
That's my point. Is you go into these tournaments and you hear about someone named John Morant, and all of a sudden that becomes, hey, you need to watch this guy. it happens every year.
Well, Steph Curry had that.
Yes.
Where he played at Davidson, so nobody knew
No one knew
anything
him.
of him. Then he gets in the tournament, and he was just dynamite.
Yeah, who's the other guy that you were saying might come back from Arkansas? He's supposed to be a top.
Sears?
No, the
Nelson?
No,
Boogie Flan.
Boogie Flan.
Oh, Arkansas. Sorry, I was thinking Alabama.
Arkansas, because they get Kansas, and I think that Boogie Flan kid is supposed to be a top 10 pick.
He is, but he's not. I don't know how. Have you seen any of them?
I haven't seen Arkansas.
He doesn't. Similar to Trey Johnson at Texas, he doesn't really jump off the page at you.
Yeah.
He's not somebody you have to tune in to see. Like Jaw was different level. Jaw was like, whoa, you got to watch this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that Boogie Fland or Trey Johnson really have that. Although you see flashes with Trey Johnson.
Yeah. Or you get a story, again, someone, whether it's Colorado State or Drake or whoever starts making a run, you'll get some kid that'll hit 7 threes in the first round and he'll upset someone, and then all of a sudden that becomes the story of the tournament. And that's why I love the NCAA tournament, is that you don't need star players. You get storylines, and that becomes the interesting part. And I mean, I know the sport would rather have a handful of Cooper Flaggs going in, and the women's game proved this. When you have a true star in Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese or whatever, that can certainly, Juju Watkins for USC and Paige Beckers, I'll be interested to see. See, there's a good example. Last year, the NCAA, the women's tournament, was enormous, right? It was the biggest we've ever seen. And you had Caitlin Clark and you had Angel Reese, right? You had the hero and the villain, and then, of course, South Carolina and Dawn Staley. So you had storylines, you had names. And that was the first time the women's tournament, I think in some ways, took some shine away from the men's tournament. And so now Caitlin Clark's gone, and you do still have some big names in women's basketball. Juju Watkins at USC is phenomenal. And Paige Beckers at UConn is a really big name that seemingly has been around forever. But they're already saying that viewership is down. The books are saying it's night and day difference in people betting on the women's tournament. And we're going to see if the women's game can survive, or not survive, but still thrive without the stars. Even if the quality's better, even if the teams are better, you can make an argument that Juju is better than Caitlin Clark, or should be a bigger star. But will there be interest in that? And I'm not certain that the men's game needs that. I think it would help it, but I'm not certain that it needs it. But maybe the Cooper Flagg is a flag effect is real. If Duke makes a deep run, do we see numbers that we haven't seen in years?
Well, I do think
flags.
I don't think there's any replacement for star players that move the needle with viewers.
Yeah.
There's just no replacement for that. That said, if you think about college basketball and some of the teams that you remember, just teams being fun to watch will get people to tune in.
Yeah.
Again, no replacement for the stars. They're the ones that are going to get the highest ratings. At the same time, there have been a lot of teams, and there's a few in this tournament this year, that are worth watching.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, when's the last time, I'm thinking just off the top of my head, when's the last time we had that actually did something in the tournament and made a deep run? When's the last time we had a star?
Superstar?
A superstar, because Flagg is, if Duke makes a run, Flagg would be that guy. Flagg will, I don't know, Caitlin Clark's a once in a generational thing. She was just, and still did it in the WNBA. Anytime she's doing something, people pay attention. And Flagg will do some version of that. But outside of that, when's the last time we had an actual giant needle mover in college basketball?
Well, I'm thinking of UConn. They didn't have that.
No.
Even though Klingon's a Blazer.
Not even
Nobody
close to
talked
it.
about any of their players.
No.
Kansas won before that, and
Nope.
they didn't have a guy.
Nope.
Baylor won before that. I can't tell you who was on that team.
Nope.
Who won before that?
I don't even care about one. I'm just saying, really move the needle that when you tuned in was must watch. I mean, I remember Trae Young at Oklahoma. I remember Zion at Duke, and they were big guys, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say Anthony Davis at Kentucky and that team. They did win a national title, but I'm not certain that Anthony Davis was like, oh my God, you have to watch what this guy's doing. None of the Villanova teams.
Well, he kind of was. Melo was. But we're talking way back.
That's way back.
I was trying to do more recent.
Well, those Villanova teams that won a couple titles, what, Jalen Brunson, no one gave a
Josh
rip.
Hart.
Yeah, no one gave a rip about that. Yeah, I mean,
Wembanyama was. Bankero was the number one pick, and he wasn't even really must-see TV, was he?
No. Far from it.
Cunningham played at Oklahoma State. Everybody said, "Oh, watch that guy," and
He got bounced by the Beavs.
Uh,
maybe I'll give you
Zion. There's one.
Yeah, Zion was a big deal.
Zion was a huge deal. Simmons.
What? Ben Simmons at LSU?
Yeah,
They didn't do squat. I don't
even think they made the tournament.
I don't think they made the tournament with him. You might be right. It might be. You might go Zion and you might go Anthony Davis. And by the way, both of those. Well, Anthony Davis was a long time ago, and Zion was unique. Zion was a guy that because he had the hype coming in where it was like we saw his high school.
But here's another one. Anthony Edwards. I'm just looking through the number 1 picks
at Georgia.
Anthony Edwards, yes, but he was at Georgia and nobody really. Nope. That he was mentioned. Like people were like, "Whoa, watch out for this Anthony Edwards guy at Georgia," but he didn't do anything there, did he?
No.
They didn't go deep?
No. I would make the argument that some of the biggest names in college basketball the last 20 plus years weren't like I remember like Adam Morrison I thought was a bigger deal than half of those guys.
Yeah, because he stayed in college.
Stuck around.
Davis was a freshman. That was unique. Zion Williamson was a freshman. That was unique. But I mean, it's just kind of this new age of college basketball where even the NBA stars of tomorrow are in this tournament.
Yeah.
But you don't really.
No.
They're just not.
No.
They don't jump off the page at you.
No. It's a unique sport in that the stars. I mean,
because like you said, the two of the top 5 picks in the NBA draft played on the same college team and they didn't even make the tournament.
Nope.
That says it all right there.
Yes. No, it's not. The tournament is unique, and if it had more star power, I'm sure the NCAA would love it.
Derrick Rose at Memphis.
At Memphis, that was a good one.
That was good.
And they made the finals.
Yeah.
And they lost to
cheaters. Lost to Rock Chalkers.
Lucky young squad. Because Mario Chalmers' dad and him were on the up and up. That's right. Rock Chalk. Yeah, Derrick Rose was a big deal. Absolutely. And so it just feels like those guys don't come around very often, and yet the game just keeps moving forward without them.
Money Talks next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update first on The Fan, brought to you by 808 Hawaiian Restaurant. Mixed plates like Grandma used to make if your grandma were from the Big Island. Woodstock, Burnside, Beaverton, or online, ate-oh-ate.com. First on The Fan, in college hoops, March Madness bracket is set. Duke, Auburn, Houston, and Florida get the number 1 seeds in each region. The Oregon Ducks earn a 5 seed in the East region, will play 12 seed Liberty in their opening game at 7:10 on Friday. The Ducks are a 6.5-point favorite over the Liberty Flames, despite being in the East region. The Ducks will stay close to home and play in Seattle for the first weekend of the tournament. If they win that first game, they would play the winner of 4-seed Arizona and 13-seed Akron. Also in the East region with Oregon is 14-seed Montana, who will play 3-seed Wisconsin Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Gonzaga earns an at-large bid as well. They get an 8-seed in the Midwest region, drawing a matchup with 9-seed Georgia, then potentially 1-seed Houston. UGA and the Zags tip it off at 1:35 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. The Oregon women earned an at-large bid as well, drawing the 10-seed in the Birmingham region. They'll play 7-seed Vandy. Meanwhile, Oregon State ladies get a 14-seed. They'll play against North Carolina. In the association tonight, Blazers back in action, hosting the 15-win Washington Wizards. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock for that one. Portland is favored by half a dozen. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk and the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The original home of the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays 9 to noon. 1080 The Fan. It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
The whole thing, I think, was made stranger by the fact that it wasn't a civilian, that it was a player. I mean, is it surprising? Did you know that, and did you learn that later, and did it surprise you when you learned it?
I'm really happy that I shot 67 today.
They're asking Rory about that.
Wouldn't play ball.
Texas golf, bro.
Yeah, he's Mr. Personality there.
But he won the players.
Yeah, but he didn't make the playoffs in the TGL. So
that's true. Boston Common not in the TGL playoffs.
Basically, Rory's a loser.
Who's Leading the Charge? Powered by Battery Exchange. Power up your summer at Battery Exchange, mentioning code BXT10 at checkout. We'll get you 10% off your entire purchase this month online at betterexchange.com.
Hey, it's Dirt here for Crunch Fitness. Spring is on its way, which means it's time to try something new. March right into Crunch Fitness this month and pay just $3 to enroll in the Peak Results membership, plus your first month free. No matter your workout of choice, they want you to feel awesome while reaching your goals. So whether you're taking it to the next level with their best personal trainers, breaking a sweat in their state-of-the-art cardio equipment, or turning it up to the energetic, addictive group fitness classes, they think you'll find something new to love. Learn more at crunch.com or just stop by Aloha Beaverton Division Center or Vancouver Plaza. Offer ends March 17th.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-222-9590.
Brewing at TGL in the first of the two semifinals in the playoffs.
Sending shockwaves through the indoor golf community.
I think that's right.
9 people there right now can't believe it.
Serena Williams being one of them.
Yeah.
And her husband, who they show an awful lot.
Yeah, what is he an investor?
I don't know.
I believe he is an investor. I think he's like a partner with a lot of these guys. Or maybe he's the team owner. Like I know like Arthur Blank is one of the team owners of like the Atlanta team.
That might be it.
I think he's the team owner.
Or
GM. I don't know.
He's there. He's fired up.
Again, I just can't say enough just how dumb this whole operation is.
We got New York leading LA 5-3, which is a few holes left.
LA can't make a putt.
Would be an upset.
Their short game's atrocious.
Can you snort the foul line? We'll get to that in a moment.
The greatest celebration in baseball history.
But this tease was Money Talks because I don't know if you saw over the weekend, but Deshaun Watson is engaged to be married.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I think this is it the same gal that stuck by him through this whole thing?
Yes, yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So they said he is engaged to his longtime girlfriend. Then I went and looked it up. I'm like, she's been with, and I found out she has been with him the whole time.
Yes.
Which is...
Wow, that is
loyalty
wild.
For you. Yes. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this woman?
I got a good idea. It's called $230 million. I guess that's what's right with her.
Yeah,
I mean,
Johnu Smith Lover on Twitter said, dude sexually assaulted 23 women and still managed to get a fiance? What am I doing wrong?
not having $230 million.
Yeah, dude, if you make millions and you can't find the love of your life, you got issues.
She's a hot, too.
Of course she is. What do you think? She's a butter hog? No.
Yeah, I mean, look, who am I? Marriage is a dicey proposition at best for anyone. So who am I to question true love? But you're not doing yourself any favors when this thing goes awry, when your husband, soon-to-be husband, again, allegedly sexually assaulted 26 women, and you're like, nope, choosing to believe my man.
Wait, 26?
Wasn't it 26?
Well, that last tweet said 23, but I don't know.
Oh, sorry, 23.
Well, I don't know who's right. It could be 50. I don't know.
The other good thing about this...
Don't we stop after one? It
All
gets... I mean, it's like...
Let me say this. There's nothing good about this. Nothing good about it.
Oh, boy.
So, no, I think what I was thinking was there was 23 that said that he sexually assaulted them. There was 3 or 4 that just said they just had sex with him and that it was consensual. So if you are the girlfriend, which bothers you more? The 23 women that are like, hey, he sexually harassed me and basically assaulted me, or are you more upset at the other ones that are like, nah, we just slept with him when we were like having massages? I'm not sure which one, because you could maybe try to justify in your mind like, oh no, those 23 women are completely making it up. What do you say about the handful of other ones that are like, yeah, we just like to sleep with him instead of he was paying us for sex instead of massages?
Yeah, she should probably direct her ire at him.
One would think.
But I would imagine that the women that slept with him are a little higher on her hit list than the massage therapist.
Yeah. Well, what's this gal's name? Jilly?
No idea.
Jilly?
And I don't really care.
Onassis?
True story.
I was just shocked to find out that he has had a longtime girlfriend.
Well, let's just say I'm glad that you have a lot of self-respect for yourself, and good luck in the divorce, and hopefully it treats you well. So.
Oh, it will. She getting that money.
Well, I'm guessing there's a pretty good prenup in place here. I'm guessing, but yeah, she takes a lot of Instagram photos of her at football games, looking hot, wearing designer clothing.
Can we deduce that she does not give a very good massage?
I think that's probably safe to assume. If you're seeking out 30 plus masseuses in the greater Houston area, probably means you're not getting massaged well at home. It is amazing to me how an absolute scumbag of a human being, and yet she's on Instagram like, look at my diamond ring. It's giant.
Yeah, she don't care.
Hey, Kobe's woman stuck around for like $8 million, right? Wasn't that the ring?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a 4-carat diamond, I think.
It's like one of the most expensive diamond rings you can buy.
Wouldn't you? What are you gonna? Oh, here, no, you can have this back. No, I'm in.
Yeah, the hyphenated name will have Gold Digger in the middle of it somewhere. You know, Jilly Gold Digger Onassis Watson. I mean, I don't know. I guess you. I gotta. How do I say this? I knew a lot of professional athletes that with their wives there was just an
understanding.
Yeah, it's the same thing in entertainment. You are trading a certain level of shame and dignity to have the lifestyle. And the way it was described to me by someone who I will not name names, but someone once described to me is, in their mind, she's the one that gets to have the kids. She's the one that gets to be home. She's the one that he is really in love with. And the other stuff is just, it's acceptable because of who they are. And then you can talk yourself into that.
All right.
And there's a whole weird community of women and wives that kind of pal around and do all that.
Well,
and,
sure.
Yeah. So
it's trade-offs, man.
It's trade-offs.
Nothing comes free.
No.
You know?
I think very rarely were any of these women surprised. She may have been surprised with the 23, but I'm willing to guess that she had a good idea that Deshaun was out doing Deshaun things.
Yeah. And they feel superior because they're like, hey, yeah, I'm the one that has the baby with him.
Yeah.
Not you.
Exactly.
Whore. You're just a whore.
And again,
meanwhile, I'm a wife.
Something tells me if the $230 million magically went away, something tells me that somehow she would fall out of love and maybe seek
Yes, she would.
Yeah. You know who else she would fall in love with? Another quarterback that also has $200 million. That's the amazing part is women like this, they do tend to bounce from athlete to celebrity to athlete. You know, they just kind of
I wonder why.
Make a little circle.
All right, can you snort the foul line? Mitchell Voigt edition next on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, lost in all the basketball shuffle, the Oregon Ducks won a national championship over the weekend. The Oregon women won the indoor national track and field title. It's the 8th time they've won that. 15 total titles now for Oregon track and field. 8 indoor, 3 outdoor, 4 cross country. The school now has 33 championships all time, good enough for 13th in the country.
Tracktown, USA. It's almost as if the school is funded by someone that thinks track is kind of important.
That's right. Bill Bowerman. Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
Primetime owns the water cooler.
You bitched and moaned.
The Fan.
Tonight there's
All right, well, it's official. New York has upset L.A. in the first semifinal at TGL.
I wish you guys could have been here to hear Ryan Buckley, unsolicited and not joking, yell out, "Tommy Fleetwood, you bitch!"
Yeah, I sure did.
Missed a big putt.
Guessing you had a little something on Tommy Fleetwood and company.
That's right.
Yeah, we bet L.A. tonight.
I've been riding the Rop tutelage to some winnings this year, so we got to get back on the horse tomorrow.
Took an L.
Here's the matchup. It's Atlanta versus the Bay Club. You got Justin Thomas, Billy Horschel, and Patrick Cantley tomorrow against Shane Lowry, Minwoo Lee, and Ludwig Oberg.
What? Huh? Oh, sorry. I passed out there. I passed out from all the indoor golf.
No, I'm going to get Rob's pick right now.
I know that Atlanta is undefeated, but I'm going to go with Bay Club there. Are we catching points?
I haven't even looked at the odds yet. I wanted your opinion on it without knowing the odds.
I think I might take the points.
Take the point? You mean take the juice?
I think Bay Club is going to be an underdog, and I feel like plus money there is good value. JT's team is the team to beat, I think. But I'm not sure about that.
It's essentially even odds tomorrow. The Bay, a slight favorite.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Man, this hot TGL talk.
But am I right that ATL hasn't lost?
I don't see their records.
Let's go through this.
I thought they've lost.
Can we go player by player, like the individual matchups? I mean,
So Justin Thomas against Shane Lowry. Who do you like?
I swear to God.
Okay, do you want to do Horschel versus Minwoo Lee?
Ooh, that's tough.
I hate you.
Cantley versus Oberg? The Swede? Your Swede?
My Swede.
So Mitchell Voigt is a guy who plays at Michigan. He plays baseball.
Yes.
Okay, not basketball. He plays baseball.
I believe he's a second baseman.
And he looks super baseball-y. He's super bro-y.
When did baseball become the broiest sport?
It's always been that way. Yes. It's just, I don't know. I think they just lean into it more now.
Yeah. Like they're doing. There's a lot of accessories.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of
bits,
big eye black happening. And there's headbands,
hair.
Yeah,
hair's all funky. This kid had to issue an apology because he gets to third base on a triple and snorts the third baseline, or.
He pretends to snort.
To snort the white powder of the third base.
Yeah, it's a head first slide, and the helmet comes off and everything. So while he's there, he just, pretends like he's got a little railer. It's end of the evening, he leaves a bit of a pick me up, and apparently that is
unacceptable. Did not go over well.
No, it did not.
And this morning at 10:55 a.m. via his notes app on his phone, he had to release the statement that reads, "I would like to apologize for my actions on third base yesterday. I made an immature decision in the heat of the moment. The gesture I made does not reflect my character.
You sure about that?
The household I was raised in, or the block M that I represent in any kind of way. I take full responsibility for what I did, and I am truly sorry to all those who I have negatively impacted by doing this."
So we're expected to believe that this broiest of bros from Michigan has never done a little railer? That's what we're supposed to...
Yeah, he got that idea having never done that before.
He's never done it before in his life. And no one at Michigan either.
Does not reflect him.
Was anybody negatively impacted by that? Like
not a
anyone?
Single one.
Won't someone think of the children?
What the hell?
Some kid had to have it explained to their dad.
Like, an 11-year-old with a Twitter account was like, "What's that?"
Yeah, but hey, when in doubt, apologize.
Dad's like, "Well, I've been meaning to talk to you about this, son. Here's a mirror.
Sometimes
here's
after
a razor
a
blade.
night of heavy drinking, son, it feels like you're about to go down. And
see that white powder on the floor or on the field there?
You don't watch much Saturday Night Live anymore, do you?
Sometimes. I try to.
Shane Gillis was the host a couple weeks back, and one of the fun, they do the SNL ads, right, where they do fake products. One of the best ones ever was he had one for basically depression. The new medication was a couple of beers. And then, of course, whenever they do the medication commercials, they have to tell you about the side effects. And then the side effects, you take a different medication to handle the side effects. So the best was the couple of beers came in, they looked like prescription bottles, but they were just beers.
Yeah, it looked like a Centrum bottle,
yes.
Kind of like you get from the pharmacy, yeah.
And the only downside to a couple of beers, which, by the way, treated everything from seasonal depression to mild Italian housewife, which was amazing. But it can cause drowsiness. And so if the couple of beers is causing drowsiness, you need to ask your doctor about a little bump. And the little bump was just a baggie of blow and then a key. And they talked about how the little bump would pick you up from the drowsiness, and it was amazing. But this bro at Michigan, no, it doesn't represent him or the fine Block M. It's not about that life.
By the way, Buck, I'm seeing that Atlanta has already lost to the Bay Club this year.
Oh, I saw both teams are 4-1, so same
Okay,
record.
so
But
Atlanta has
head to head,
Yeah,
Atlanta's
Bay
got
Club
them.
beat them.
Oh, Bay Club beat them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wow. So what you're saying is, dude, all day tomorrow, this is just going to be a nail biter. It's anyone's
Well,
game.
between that and the first four, and I mean,
We got
what are we going to do with
Cubs,
ourselves?
Dodgers. Dude,
That's at like 3 in the morning.
the sports day, we have to start drinking at 3 o'clock in the morning. Do you know that?
It's the only way.
For tomorrow?
And I hate to tell you
First
this,
four?
but there's
Kegs
only
and
one,
eggs, let's do it.
If we start drinking at 3, there's only one way we're getting through this show.
Little bump. What do you call it in the skit?
I think we now call it the third baseline.
The third baseline.
I think from now on, be like, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to head to the bathroom. I got to slide head first into the third baseline real quick. What was this guy? Mitchell Voigt?
Mitchell Voigt.
There you go. I got to pull a Mitchell Voigt head into the third baseline. If you want me alert, if I'm going to start drinking at 3 in the morning, dude, by the time 4 o'clock rolls around, I'm going to need a pick me up. And then I'll write my apology like in advance for anyone that I'm offended.
All right, well, they have found an extermination camp in Mexico, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, has there ever been an extermination camp that wasn't terrifying?
That's fair.
I mean, to be honest with you, if you told me they found an extermination camp anywhere,
but
I wouldn't be like, I bet you it was great.
We just didn't know that the cartels were up to this level of what would be the word? Like
evil?
Yeah. But they were and are.
Shenanigans, although shenanigans seems kind of fun.
We'll get to that.
There's nothing fun about this.
Coming up next in the club on the Fan.
No heat in your home? When's the last time you had maintenance done on your furnace? Three Mountains Home Services will come out to your home and tune up your furnace for only $59. The last thing you want is to be left in the cold without heat in your home. Annual preventative maintenance can help ensure your system keeps you warm all winter. Three Mountains Home Services has you covered. They've been
take a guy that won't be ready to play for at least 4 years. They're always upset. You've made it. Excuse me.
Rocking you on a Friday. Why did I say that?
Merry Christmas, Pete.
That's 50% stupid.
Space Force.
Head coach?
God.
What? Keep the ball, you little bitch.
What is Colorado Rockies?
Underrated drop.
It's an all-timer.
What is Colorado Rockies?
I think that's like a sneaky top 5 for you. You play that one a lot.
I love that one. I would like you to listen.
It's a great drop, but you really love it.
I just want you to listen to how unsure she is. Okay.
What is Colorado Rockies?
That was during Jeopardy. Do we remember what the question was?
Yeah, well, that's why it's funny.
Yeah.
Is that it was something that
It's something that in no way could be the Colorado Rockies. But that is a very, very smart woman who probably has 3 sports facts running around her brain, but probably can't handle the fact that she doesn't know something because she's so smart. So when a sports question gets thrown her way, in her mind, she's probably like, I got this. Wait a minute. I saw sports once, and I believe Colorado Rockies. So she just kind of, just kind of threw it out there. That Hail Mary at the end of the night at the bar, you're like, let's see if this works. I appreciate that she had the guts to ring in and go with Colorado
Rockies? I don't know. I think it was a football question.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, it's an egregious answer. But, that's like if you imagine if you had some sports bro up there with his, man boobs and his beer bellies out there and he's eating some nachos and someone asked him an astrophysics question. It's the same sort of thing. Maybe he remembered something that Neil deGrasse Tyson said, like when he was on Joe Rogan, and he's like, wait a minute.
What are light years?
Exactly. It's with that. Yeah, exactly. What is E equals MC squared? It's probably the exact same thing. You're throwing out something you think at one point may have been related to the topic, and you hope you're right.
It's also amazing when you watch Jeopardy, when you throw those out, how many of them sometimes are right. You're like, whoa, got it.
Yeah. But to actually ring in and go with Colorado Rockies, dude, that lady's awesome. That lady's awesome.
Would it feel better to get it right by a sheer galactic nucleus, and you're right, you're just guessing, or to actually know it?
Oh, I think not. I think just the galactic guess, it probably feels better.
Like you guess what is a galactic nucleus, Raj?
Yeah.
And they're like, that's right! And you're like, oh, yes, I knew that all. You were totally guessing. That'd probably feel better than actually knowing it.
Yeah, the one chance at one astrophysics question that I knew, I mean, that'd be kind of cool, but that's just dumb. Like, I don't know, maybe you read one thing somewhere. But to actually pull something out of your arse like that, oh, that's an amazing feeling.
Well, extermination site.
Speaking of amazing feelings, right into the feel-good story of the year with extermination site.
Yeah, they found one in Mexico here.
Yeah.
Cremation ovens, human remains, the whole bit. Bro. Pretty wild. It's this ranch. And the worst part is...
Oh, yeah, I see it.
The worst part is cops were there 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And didn't...
No.
What do you mean? So Mexican authorities were there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be. The policia were there and nothing...
La Policia. It's in Jalisco?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that's not a good area.
Okay, sorry. Not the Mexican authorities. Volunteers were there.
Okay.
Why the hell were volunteers there?
They're volunteers because there's such an epidemic of missing people in Mexico that they are out trying to find people who have gone missing. And I think the volunteers, I think that either clues or some trails led them here.
There's your answer. So Mexican authorities are now investigating the site in the western state of Jalisco, first found last week by a group of volunteers. It was believed to have been used by one of the area's cartels. Inside its iron gates were an increasing number of horrors, including cremation ovens, bone fragments, hundreds of pairs of shoes, clothing, and even children's toys.
Yeah, they're saying over 700 personal items at the site.
They'd see the shoes and say, those look like the ones my missing relative was wearing when they disappeared. The ranch was raided last September. Okay, this is what I was thinking of. The ranch was raided last September by Mexican authorities who failed to find or reveal the discovery of human remains. How does that happen? I have a good idea how that happens.
Look the other way?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably just
now.
Hey, you got one or two choices here. You can take this money and pretend that you didn't see it, or you can grow a conscience, not take the money, and see where that gets you. And by the way, here's the oven.
Yeah, well, you'll end up just like all the people you're investigating.
Yeah.
Well, they say at the time of the raid, 10 arrests were made, 2 hostages released, and a body was found wrapped in plastic. So then they began searching this week, and they found almost 100 shell casings, human remains, shoesies, clothing items. Very scary. Well, I mean, it's just very. It's like out of a horror movie.
Yeah, some of the photos here are pretty. They're pretty shocking. Yeah, it's.
Some of the details get even gnarlier too.
Yeah. Turns out.
Like what?
Oh, like they might have been feeding people to lions. Did you see that part of the story?
No.
Yeah.
Lions?
Yeah. That there were, if some people either, I'll have to go back and find the exact excerpt, but basically if some people were either stepping out of line or not doing what they were asked to, they would just feed them to lions.
Yeah. Damn. I had a buddy of mine that was with the U.S. Marshals, and they would do like fugitive task force stuff, and every now and then they'd be down at the border, and he would say that the worst thing that they would find is they would call it, I think it was called queso soup, where they would find, I think one of the common things they do is they use the like the oil drums, the big, and
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad, and they would put bodies in there, and then they fill it up with liquid, and then like acid and like lye and everything, and so it all just kind of becomes a thick soup. And when they find them, there's no way to know how many bodies
are like in said soup.
In said soup. But yeah, they'll find ones down there, and they'll find just rows and rows, like in these old abandoned warehouses, and it's just.
So what do you think they're doing? Like, is this people that cross them?
Not necessarily. So there were 2 excerpts that really like stood out. This one said that Indira Navarro, who's the leader of the Searching Warriors of Jalisco, this is a searching group. They're the ones who found the site. Said that several people had contacted the group to say they had been recruited and trained at the site in the use of weapons and torture techniques, but the ranch was also used as a killing site where criminals routinely disposed of their victims. So it was a place where they would train people to kill, but also bring people to kill. But they also said that they would post job listings via the equivalent of Craigslist, and they would tell people, yeah, you can come interview for this job, and they get on a random bus and just bring them to the camp and lure their victims in.
Wait, and just kill them?
Yeah,
just for no reason?
Or have them be part of whatever operation that they're running. It says Ms. Navarro recounted how one young man told her that the young recruits were at times forced to burn their victims as part of their training. If they objected to the orders, recruits were sometimes fed to wild animals like lions.
Let me just say this. Wow. I understand. And again, I'm
holy S.
I tend to be pro-Mexico. I like my brothers and sisters to the south. And I do read up on a lot of the stuff. And I'm absolutely, there are innocent people that get caught up in this stuff. But I am willing to wager that most of the bodies that are there because you were mixed up in those sorts of things.
I think so too.
It is almost everything I have read is that the cartels do not want to involve normal citizens. Because the fear is that when you involve normal citizens, that's when you draw attention to yourself. When you deal with people that are involved in that line of work, no one really cares, and you just kind of go about your day. So yes, I'm sure there are some innocent people, and that is horrible. But most of the time that the cartel people commit violence, it's against another cartel member or someone. The sad ones are the ones that are either police members or judges or whatever that are actually trying to fight it. But I find it hard to believe that just innocent mom and pop people are cruising around and they end up at these extermination.
Well, I think that's what makes this one a little bit more unique. It's not just cartel on cartel violence. It's nefarious people luring innocent people to get them to work for them, and if they don't, then do that.
I wonder. That's all I'm saying. I just, that's no one ever wants to admit that they're in this. You see these shows, and it's like someone gets caught up in something. They do the old, I didn't know, right? Oh, I wasn't aware. Like you see ads, you see ads for like that end up like being sex traffickers where It's like someone's like, hey, we're looking for exotic dancers to go to Guam, all expenses paid, like we take care of everything. And it is horrible what happens to those people, but at the same time,
don't get on a bus to nowhere.
Yeah, there's an element of that. It doesn't mean that they deserve what happened to them, but if you're a kid down in this cartel world of Mexico and they're like, hey, we're paying you a bunch of money to go out in the middle of nowhere, it's like, I'm sure there's some naive people, but I think most people are at least aware that you're dipping your toes in the water of something that could get you in trouble. And that if you do cross those people, those are people that will not be crossed.
Yeah, so I tend to agree with you, but the thing that I found jarring was the whole fake job listings to lure innocent people.
Yeah. That's not good. Yeah, some of the photos here are just ugh. That's all kinds of bad. But again, I think anytime and the lining up of the shoes, that's the whole Auschwitz thing. You start lining up shoes and whatnot. Ugh.
And then why keep those shoes? Why wouldn't you dispose of those and burn those just like you did bodies?
Yeah,
why keep the personal effects? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Maybe they wear them.
But I will say, of the things that I am most afraid of on the planet, let me just say that cartels and criminal organizations in general, very high near the top of the list.
Yeah.
Cartels, the Russian mob, stuff like that. I find that stuff to be just the scariest thing imaginable. Because you are dealing with people that clearly don't give an F about anything at all. But then you see like that there's that video of the two people that ended up on that Mexican back road and the cartel came up behind them and it was two guys. It was a husband and well, I guess two husbands. And they have that one where they're just terrified and the cartel's like, hey, it's all right. Like, hey, you made a bad turn.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Like, this isn't
a little PR.
Right? It's like, you're not where you're supposed to be. It's like,
you're good.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Like, get out of here. You just never know. But that's like, even that, like, if you're down in that area, don't be on back roads. I mean, those guys are so fortunate. But I've never once been around Mexico and thought to myself, you know what? I'm in cartel land. You know what I think would be fun? Go off-roading out in the middle of this desert. See where this takes me. No.
Yeah, I'd say that's what scares me most about Mexico. Even though I have been to places where I have to drive.
Yeah.
And it's like rural, it's rural.
Mm-hmm.
Big ass country.
Yeah.
That's the scariest part.
Sure.
Because you do drive in rural Mexico. Like we've all done it. Well, maybe not all of us, but you've done it. I've done it. And that's where it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, they say this area isn't bad, but what if my car breaks down? What if I just happen to hit, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Take a wrong turn.
Yeah.
Not a lot of that stuff's well marked.
No, it is not. It definitely gets you thinking.
It's Thunderdome out there.
It definitely gets you thinking.
And lo and behold, you pull up to a freaking a GD freaking ranch where they're burning bodies.
She
won't even return his calls, you freaking bitch! What is up with that?
We've done that a couple times where we've flown into a major city and then we rent a car and we'll drive maybe 2-3 hours to a little small place kind of on the coast or whatever. And there's definitely times you're driving, especially if it starts to get a little dark, you think to yourself, I want to get to this Airbnb. I want to get there stat.
And don't act like you don't see other cars and go, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not messing with that car.
Exactly.
And those bros in that Yukon with tinted windows. Yeah, I'm not. Seriously, every car you see when you're driving in Mexico, you're like, is that the cartel? Is that the cartel? Is that the cartel? I don't think that's the cartel. And then you see some nice little innocent old man who's just like a gardener, and you're like, oh, thank God.
You meet him with like the nicest people in the world. You're like, oh, thank God. We stayed in an Airbnb once, and it was probably the nicest Airbnb that I've ever stayed at. And you rented out like floors. So it was maybe 45 minutes south of Puerto Vallarta, and there was like an elevator. It was ridiculous, and you could rent out like a little floor where it had like 2 or 3 bedrooms, and then you had like a kitchen, and so they turned it into a nice like a big Airbnb, and there were other people that would stay on the different floors. But I will say that the guy, he was an older Mexican gentleman, and he was the host, and we got to meet him a couple times, kind of milling around the grounds. He was a super nice guy. But I will say, like, that place, I don't know what it took to build that place into the cliff, but it was a lot of money, and he didn't have a lot of real good answers of where that came from and whatever. And I just kind of, I was kind of asking. I'm always interested in like where people come from, whatever. And he had a very, it was the White Lotus thing. Little bit of this,
Little bit of that.
little of that.
You're asking too many questions.
Yeah, and I kind of got the impression after a couple minutes to just shut up and accept the fact that this place was kick ass and stop asking questions. But yeah, he's a super nice guy.
All right. Well, that's sad news. But what is good news is that you can go on a White Lotus themed vacation, courtesy of the Four Seasons.
So those are
it's real.
The properties that they're
tell you.
using are Four Seasons.
I'll tell you. Next on the Fan. Hey, heating costs are getting out of control right now. They're out of control. That's what's going on out there. Heating costs, they're nuts. I mean, I know my bill's gone way up, and experts say it's going to get even worse before we hit the spring. So, hey, if you want a long-term solution to that, save you a bunch of monies, U.S. dollars over the years, you want to replace your old, cold, drafty windows. That's what you want to do. Put some energy-efficient ones in there from Window Nation, because right now at Window Nation, you can, for every 2 windows you buy, get 2 free. And that deal is unlimited. You can also get 0 interest and 0 payments for 2 years, so you'll pay nothing until 2027. I trust Window Nation. They have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and they value your satisfaction not only in their quality, but also their service and their affordability. And they have a 96% customer satisfaction rating. So don't overpay for expensive windows that may not be as good. Schedule a fast, free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation by calling 866-90-NATION or going to windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com and tell them you heard it from Rop on the Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. I believe his second Players' Championship of his career. It's pretty impressive. Nice little career he's had, his resume, but, hasn't won a major in a while, so he's a choke artist. I do hope that watching other guys struggle gives people more respect for Rory. Jordan Spieth and what he's gone through, Justin Thomas and what he's gone through. Remember when Victor Hovland was one of the next big things? I'm pretty sure he shot an 80 on the opening day of this tournament. Not many are a constant for 20 years the way Rory has been.
Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on 1080 The Fan.
Now, here's a quick look at Portland traffic.
It is certainly quieter than normal today, but backups on 5 North. If you're traveling into downtown Portland, there's a crash on northbound 5 right at the 405 connector, and eastbound 26 heavy from just before the zoo getting to 405. I'm Casey. That's traffic.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Empower. Nick bought a new guitar, a 62 American Classic Electric. Does he know how to play? No. But Nick's Empower investment account has performed well. He got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is a really, really, really good guitar song.
A is your home for the biggest basketball tournament of the year. Make every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella run mean more at A Sportsbook. Cash in this March with a wide selection of parlays and teasers, money lines, and props. A Sportsbook has the widest selection of bets and largest video wall in the region to make the most of your tournament experience. A sounds like fun. A is committed to responsible gambling. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call the Washington State Gambling Hotline at 800-547-6133.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply.
You're like, oh, praise for. No, the guy's an idiot. Am I wrong?
No.
I don't want to be sensitive.
Unless he had a medical episode, but there's no indication that's what happened.
No, dude, his nose.
Right now, because dude, come on, this is Paul Pierce level. If you're puking on the court and they're wheeling you out in a wheelchair, come on, dude.
We got a good idea what's happening here.
Come on, you can't take the wheel. You gotta deny the wheelchair, don't you?
Yeah, maybe. Well,
but if you deny the wheelchair, then you have to walk, and if you're so drunk that you can't walk, then you can't blame it on an illness later.
Well, and here's the other problem too: that if
he's seriously ill, I'm gonna go ahead and preemptively apologize.
what are the chances?
But even that, seriously, like if he's just sick, that also goes into what I'm talking about. Yeah. This better be really serious if people are thinking that, like does he have to go to the hospital?
Yeah,
I'm thinking not.
Someone said I have a blood disorder, and if I puke, I tend to get a bloody nose, and because of all the pressure. So,
didn't he had a bad car accident? I know that.
He had a horrible car accident, but that was like a brain trauma thing.
Well, but maybe he's got.
I think Tracy likes to party.
Some residuals.
I think Tracy is known to party.
And by the way, even if you party, is it too much to ask to not? Puke like right on the side of you know what I mean? Like,
or if you want to party like that, maybe don't sit courtside of the Knicks game.
Handle your stuff, man. This looks bad for you.
That's called cocaine Icarus. You flew a little too close to the sun, and the wings melted a little bit. And it's not good. And by the way, if you were feeling a little upset, like
there's the other thing.
You were sick. You wouldn't be courtside. You would know, hey, I need to get up, probably go somewhere. The fact that he just bent over and threw up.
Right.
Dude, that dude was riding the dragon.
He was housed.
He was housed.
Because it doesn't just come on like that, right? You're right. Like, you start to get queasy. You're like, oh, dude, you know when you're going to throw up.
You know.
You got to.
And if you're sitting courtside, you can probably get to a bathroom pretty quick because you're not no one's in your way.
Get up and run out of there. Dude, you got a freaking free shot to the bathrooms. Like, you're not having to fight people for that.
I think we all know what happened here.
Okay, good. I don't feel so bad. I don't know. I just all the sentiments like, pray for. No.
It's like any time a celebrity goes to the hospital with exhaustion, for God's sakes. You're not exhausted. You've done too much blow and you're going through withdrawals. So
he's going to come out and say something like, oh, yeah, I've got a really severe...
though.
He's going to come out and say something
exactly
happened is like, he's going to play the sympathy card. And you know what? This radio host ain't buying it.
Yeah, I think we got a good idea of what... what happened. I tend to be on your side. I'm open to the idea that we're wrong, and I will apologize if necessary.
I already did. I already apologized.
But I'm guessing that Tracy was having a grand old time. I think he's known to have a grand old time. And it just was a bit much.
This is the new thing. You criticize, even unfairly, and then you apologize for it all in one so you don't have to go back. It's just more efficient.
Well, look, the idea is that, and again, look at the people around him. No one's like, oh my God, what's happening? Dude, his guy that he's with is standing up and is like,
yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
He's got his hand on his shoulder. He's like, all right, we're doing this. Like,
here we go.
Freaking
Tracy.
God. Hey, man, St. Patty's Day. In New York, you start mixing some combinations, you drink a little too much, maybe take a bump or two, throwing a painkiller on top of it. Next thing you know, not feeling so well.
Have you ever puked where you couldn't, it was wildly embarrassing for you? I mean, nobody likes to puke in front of other people. Obviously, but I just mean,
where I've never couldn't control it.
Yeah, I've never had it where I couldn't at least sort of get somewhere where I could just isolate myself and not have to bother other people with it. You know what I mean?
I got kicked. Well, I didn't get kicked. I guess I got punched in the liver and I threw up, and that was kind of embarrassing. And that was like during.
But you couldn't control that.
No,
that just came on.
I thought I was actually, to be honest with you, I thought that one was better because I thought it might come out the other end. If you've ever been like punched in the liver, if you've ever done boxing or whatever, if like you've ever kickboxed or whatever, when you get hit in the liver, your whole body just kind of shuts down, and I threw up, and I was pretty embarrassed at that. But I didn't feel like...
But there was a reason.
There was a reason why. No one was laughing. Everyone was like, oh, crap. Because they'd all... If you've done that enough, you've been there, and you've been hit. And I was just happy, honestly, that I didn't poo my pants. Because I thought that may happen. Like, your whole body, it just feels like your insides have exploded. But I'm trying to think... That was... And I felt embarrassed at that. I'm trying to think if I don't think I've ever had one where I couldn't make it to a toilet. I couldn't make it to a bathroom.
That's what I mean.
And have like a private moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm open to the idea that some people can't feel it coming, maybe, or like you and I have special powers that we can hide our puking. But I don't know. It's a weird thing to me to see people throw up in public because I'm like, well,
yeah. Most of the time
why
when
are
I've
you
seen
doing that?
people throw up in public, it has been you're housed. And I've even had this where I've had it where I'm like, hey, why don't I pull over the car and you throw up? No, I'm fine. No, seriously. And they don't want to admit that it's going to happen, even though they can feel it. And then when you do try to pull over, it's too late and it misses a little bit. Were you there when our old promotions director threw up in our program director's car? No. Were you with that one?
Who and who?
Okay, so this is true story. Dennis Glasgow.
Oh, yeah.
The great Dennis. I thought you may have been with us.
He was our PD.
He was our PD. Dennis had just bought a brand new Honda SUV. Not the Cube one.
Like a CRV?
No, I think it was a Pilot.
Oh, yeah, Honda Pilot. Sure.
Honda Pilot. Brand new. Just new car smell and everything. And it was me, Glasgow, our promotions guy, Jeff White.
Jeff White, yeah.
And there was someone else, and that's why I didn't know if it was you or not.
It wasn't me.
Wasn't you?
Because I would remember that.
So there was 4 of us. We were driving up, and we went up to see a Mariner game. We got corporate seats, and we had the, the Diamond Club seats, right? Where everything's taken care of. It was really cool. Get to eat, drink, all that. Well, Jeff had too good of a time. And so we put Jeff in the front seat, and me and someone else were in the back, and Glasgow was driving, and we were on our way back. And Jeff fell asleep. And so we just were kind of laughing. We're like, oh, dude, just full on, just sawing logs, leaning against the window. And I want to say about halfway down, maybe Olympia, Jeff White woke up. And within 20 seconds of waking up, front windshield. Oh! Boom. Just rocket. Brand new Honda SUV down in the air vents. And just...
No.
Strong. It shook the car to its core.
Like explosive.
No one could handle it.
Oh, my God.
No one.
I can only imagine the smell.
Awful.
Ooh, the smell.
So we find the next exit. We all got the windows down. I'm trying not to vomit from the smell. We pulled over, and we had to go into a service station and try to scoop.
God, inner windshield makes me cringe.
Windshield, and then it's down in the vents. We drove the rest of the way home, windows down at night. Didn't care. Couldn't turn on the heater, so it was cold outside, so the windows were down. But the moment you turned on the heater, it made it worse. And Jeff felt awful. I mean, he was just.
Why can't he? See, this is what I'm talking about.
He
This
just
is a
woke
great
up
example.
And it was on.
Okay, but you said 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So in that 20 seconds, he's feeling it. Roll down the window.
I don't know, man. I'm not certain that he had a full understanding of.
I don't get it. And I may be in the vast minority here, and I need to wake up to the idea that sometimes you just can't control your puke. But I think people should better control their puke.
Well, and the other one, again, the other great fan incident, who we will not name names, but someone's wife at a Pearl Jam concert.
Oh, yeah.
And you cowardly were up in a box.
That's right.
And
I left my wife with
and I
you
was
guys.
sitting with your wife.
Yep.
As you cowardly went away.
Yeah, we were up in better seats. Screw you guys. I'm not sitting with that.
We were at Pearl Jam Moda Center, and one of the employees' wives passed out in the seat from too much drinking, wakes up in the middle of Nothing Man, comes to, and projectile vomits all over the people in front of us. Cleared 2 rows, hazmat team came, she got kicked out, whole thing.
True story.
I have been witness to 2 wake up from a stupor, puking incidents here at the Fan. And yes, it is get your ass together.
Yes. Come on.
I felt horrible for those people in front of us.
Come on. Well, yeah. Can you imagine getting puked on?
Oh man! And the person's wife or the husband was just, you could tell he just wanted to run away and just not have anything to do with it. Oh, it was bad.
Oh, I've got a White Lotus themed world tour being offered by Four Seasons. How much do you think you got to pay for this? We'll get to that next. Here's Buck.
Now, From the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on The Fan in college hoops, the March Madness bracket is set. Oregon gets a 5 seed in the East region. They'll play 12 seed Liberty in their opening game at 7:10 on Friday evening. The Ducks will play that game up in Seattle. They're a 6.5-point favorite. If they beat Liberty, they would play the winner of 4 seed Arizona and 13 seed Akron. Other tournament notes, the 1 seeds are Duke, Auburn, Houston, and Florida. Joining Oregon in the East region is 14 seed Montana, who will play 3 seed Wisconsin Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Meanwhile, Gonzaga earns an at-large bid as an 8 seed, taking on Georgia in the Midwest region. Then potentially 1 seed Houston. UGA and the Zags tip off at 1:35 on Thursday afternoon. The Oregon women earned an at-large bid as well, drawing the 10 seed in the Birmingham region, while the Oregon State women will get a 14 seed and take on number 3 North Carolina. In the association tonight, the Blazers are back in action, hosting the 15-win Washington Wizards. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. Portland is favored by half a dozen. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard or missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's Window 1080 with Isaac and Suk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Double Sun Power!
This always gets me. Before I get to the White Lotus story.
Yeah.
We just did a whole set. We completely pivoted to the Tracy Morgan puking story.
Yes.
And we spoke about it for 10 minutes.
At least.
And a text comes in. This is fascinating to me.
Yeah. It's a Ryan Buckley.
Well, you know how this happened, though. This has more excuse than what I do, I think.
What do you mean? So a text comes in that says Tracy Morgan puked courtside at Knicks game. Likely drunk and partying all day. Had to be wheeled off in a wheelchair. Had a bloody nose, too. Yeah, no S. That's why we're talking about this.
Well, their people are commuting. They probably didn't hear the start of the segment.
But we mentioned Tracy Morgan the whole way through it.
But I don't think we've mentioned him for 15 minutes.
That's wrong.
I don't know. I get it.
Buckley's.
At least with me, I'm
Why
here
the
the
hell
whole time.
else?
I have no excuse.
I mean, well, why the hell else would we? Like, can you not put two and two together, even if we didn't say Tracy Morgan, that's probably why?
They should probably wonder if that was why. But, if you didn't have context, you didn't have context.
It's possible that's why we're talking about puking in public.
Yes.
Or they're like, hey, they're talking about puking in public.
Oh
Hey,
my
Tracy-
God, I wonder if they even saw that Tracy Morgan just puked.
Oh, this is perfect timing. We should tell them about Tracy Morgan.
I'm going to let them know. They probably don't know that.
Loose, like, puking in public is bad, but like soiling yourself would be worse. Like Star is Born, like that's like the Joe Pa in public, that I'll take throwing up over the Jim Boeheim or that's
We took a college houseboat trip once, and one of the dudes had an oopsie poopsie while he was sleeping on the houseboat with a crowded houseboat with everybody, and that
While he was
people don't
sleeping?
forget. Yeah.
The old oops poop.
Yeah.
Surprise poop.
And I'm watching Tracy Morgan getting carted out. That doesn't seem like a real medical emergency. That just, it's more of, we know what's up.
I do think the wheelchair, though, is so that he can claim afterwards he was having medical things.
Exactly.
If you watch him walk,
Exactly.
they'd be like, you were just hammered, dude. But
Isn't it more baller to just throw your arm around a buddy and get hauled out of there?
Well,
maybe more baller,
and maybe raise your arm up
Yeah.
with a thumbs up.
Yeah, we see the video of him throwing and getting removed. What we need is the video of him walking to his seat. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I need someone to capture the before, because we've seen the after. I want to know if there was some rumbling, bumbling, stumbling going on.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. Something tells me he's always housed. He kind of seems that way.
He certainly has that reputation. I don't know if that's just like the persona, but I think Tracy Morgan likes to have a good time.
All right. White Lotus story will wrap up the show next on The Fan.
The best basketball party is back. George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law presents Fan Madness, March 20th and 21st at the Stadium Sports Bar, home to A Sportsbook. A, make every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella run mean more at A Sportsbook.
My goodness, from the parking lot.
Fan Madness at A. More info at 1080thefan.com.
The best steakhouse in town isn't just steaks, it's everything, and that's what sets Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop apart. Hey, it's Rob. For your next night out, visit Laurelhurst Market. Something for everyone, and it's all given the same care as their one-of-a-kind cuts of meat. From the charcuterie board to the calamari, the roasted beets to the cast-iron black cod, it's all delicious, not to mention a spice bread pudding with pistachio ice cream for dessert. Laurelhurst Market, it's a great night out for everyone.
Just real quick, I did look up Tracy Morgan, and he is an alcoholic. He claims that he stopped drinking. He did have to have a kidney transplant from diabetes and alcoholism. So if he is messed up, then he's fallen off the wagon, or maybe he wasn't. There's a lot of celebrities that claim they're sober. I don't know. He's battled these problems, I guess, for many, many years. So hopefully he's okay, whatever it is, and we'll see.
I feel kind of bad, but I also don't. I don't know.
I always have a hard time with this because the one that I remember is Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots fame, Velvet Revolver. Scott Weiland, who ended up dying from drugs. Scott Weiland came into the offices and we had him on, and his manager wanted us to stay away from some topics, but wanted us to talk about Scott's sobriety and what it meant to him. Dude, that dude was high as a effing kite during our interview. And I even asked the manager afterwards. The manager looked at me and was like, what do you want from me, man? Like, the guy wants to talk about his sobriety.
To not talk about his sobriety. Talk about anything his music. Because the sobriety's not happening.
Hot, so messed up. He's like slurring words in the interview. I'm like, come on, really? And then he died, I want to say a couple years later, maybe 2-3 years later, he died of an OD. So, take sobriety for what it's worth, but hopefully Tracy Morgan is okay. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Maybe it was partying, maybe it wasn't, but it's an embarrassing sight. But he has battled. He claims to this day to still be an alcoholic, even though he said he quit drinking years ago.
Well, you're always an alcoholic.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're sober, you're still an alcoholic.
Yes.
But I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I just have this thing in my head that you should be able to control your puke a little better than sitting courtside at a freaking NBA game and stopping the action.
Maybe a popcorn bucket,
Something. I mean, you're a freaking veteran drinker.
Yeah.
How are you just vomiting right on the court? I don't get it.
He does take Ozempic. That can make your it can rip up your gut.
Well, we're gonna have to get to my White Lotus story tomorrow. But it's pretty cool. Four Seasons is doing a White Lotus vacation.
I'm guessing I can't afford that.
You cannot.
No.
Look.
Guess that number is...
I know what you make.
Yeah,
and I can tell you this. You can't afford it.
No.
All right. If it helps you, I can't afford it either.
I guess a lot of people can.
So we'll get to that tomorrow. Be back with us, won't you? 3 to 7 on The Fan. Good night.